Hello and welcome to the stream. I see a couple people were in there, and then it seems like everybody just dropped off. Not sure what happened. Let me do my normal sound test. I have it open on the other screen just to make sure you guys can hear me. Hate to sit there and talk for the next 15 minutes and nobody knows I'm even here yet, but we are back with nothing changed. Time has been paused since I made this save at the end of the last stream, and we have some decisions to make. Well, I think we kind of already made the decisions, but we'll see what happens. Now, also always curious to see how long the delay is. We're quite a long delay. Let me close that. I want to do another thing here. Let me see about turning this mic up a bit. There we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, I think I figured out what happened with the volume a few weeks ago. Maybe. Like when I go to move the mic out of my way sometimes, I think I tend to hit the volume, not hit it, but like rub against it, the knob that turns up and down, what they call the gain, which increases or decreases how much it picks up. You try to want to leave your gain down, right? Or else you pick up like any background noises. I'm not too far from a busy street, so I don't want to get it up too high where you guys pick up everything in the world. It's supposed to be a directional mic, and it doesn't pick up. I'm amazed at some of the things it doesn't pick up. It's actually pretty good. But in any event, hello, Fox Gaming. Welcome. And Pietro. Welcome. Benito. Yes. How are you doing, Benito? Good to see you again on another Saturday. Yes, it is a requirement to say it. So I decided to change the name of the town from Nanad, but maybe we can vote on another one. No offense to Nanad. I haven't seen him. If he's been here, he's been awful quiet. Just, it's sort of like if I named it Steve, right? Nothing wrong with the name Steve, but it's just sort of weird to have it just the name of a person. I don't know if that's true in the Eastern Bloc countries, but certainly in America, you don't see. I guess some people are named Chester, but I think that's like sort of a people named after a town as opposed to the other way around, right? So, in any event, do you know that the word ton is like where we get the word town? So, in other words, this would have been a town. It also means like enclosure. So, it probably referred, if this was the name of it, Nanadton would have been, the town of Nanad that probably had an enclosure of some sort around it, like a fence or a stockade, for protection. Same thing. A ham is usually like if we were to go over here and have a town where there's a farming community, a lot of times that was ham. So when you have like Birmingham or Nottingham and things like that. Berg was usually like a fortress, so there was probably some kind of a castle or something associated with those towns. So in any event, that's not why we're here to talk about town names. But if you do have a thought, call it Hantazoni. Okay? Hantazoni. Like my failed town, okay? Yeah, Pietro, just if you want it to die, don't keep bringing it up. That's all I can tell you in life. If you don't want people talking about something, then stop talking about it yourself, and usually other people will lose interest. But yeah, we understand. I understand. And neither one of us, I don't think, is. We talked a little bit the next day about it. Neither one of us is going to say a word, so don't sweat it. Hey, Shunter, how are you doing today? London reporting in. Very good. Yes, this is. There was another YouTuber, Quill18. I don't know if you guys ever saw any of his videos. I noticed he live streams at 2 p.m. Like he does it during the week. He's more popular than I am, and I assume he does it for a living. But in any event, like this does seem to be a good time to try your best to catch everybody. I think you get more of the English-speaking world this way. Unfortunately, the Australians, I guess they just have a hard time being on the other side of the planet, I suppose, with time zones for this kind of thing anyway. So, John, welcome. Thank you for your comments throughout the week. You've some of them have been daunting to even read, so I really appreciate your detail. It's a lot of it's a lot. I don't have any issue with them, but if there's any problem with them in the slightest, it's hard to follow so much. Like, in other words, well, wait a minute, what does he mean here or there? But it's been good. Like, when I've taken the time to really read through them, they definitely be helpful. So thank you for that. Yeah, Pennsylvania, the United States, so the eastern side of the U.S. Oh, I watched another guy making a video, and he was foreign, and he kept, instead of saying bear, he kept saying beer, like, and it was. I'm not a huge drinker anymore. I mean, I had my day when I drank more than my share, but it was just fun because it was, he's drawing a picture of a bear, and he kept saying beer, and it kept making me want beer at that point. So. All right. So anyway, let's see. Let's do a little bit of a recap. Usually in the first, I like to keep it to 15 minutes or half an hour at the most. Get a chance to get everybody in that's going to be here. It seems like a lot of you guys are already here. Oh, there's Nino. Hello. How are you doing today? Thanks for coming. Yeah, thanks all of you for coming. And Dennis Becker, sorry, I almost missed you. And Roscoe. Getting quite a few people in here immediately, and I appreciate that. How did I miss you guys way back in the beginning? I guess I wasn't paying enough attention, was I? Now I see what I did. I was looking for town names. So yeah, if you guys do consider a town name, we could always rename any of the towns. We also named this one after Nino, but then we went and Nino is now a sad state of affairs. He's pretty much a couple dirt roads and a few footpaths there, right? Sorry, Nino. But yeah, we just sort of eliminated your whole town on the other side of the hill there, unfortunately. Now, I don't know. Yeah, I think we voted for mostly staying with the rules. And the last thing we were sort of working towards, I think, was getting a construction office over here so that we could do two things. We can get an improved road going, like just a shorter, potentially paved road. If you remember, now that we have our processing plant, we now are able to pave roads, really cheaply actually, because we have the gravel for it and we have the asphalt. I mean, I guess you still have to count labor and fuel in doing the task, but still, that's paving roads is not going to be a big cost for us. It's probably the only thing that's particularly cheap at this point, isn't it? Yeah, that's it. We are like, the fuel's not even going to cost us that much because we're making plenty of fuel too, right? But that's about the only thing we're really self-sufficient at is paving roads. Now that I mention it, but once we start up time, we'll get this going. And the one reason I wanted to do this shouldn't take too long, and that'll let us build a little bit further up this way where we can level off a spot and get a construction area, I think, going off here, right? I still like the idea of putting some farm fields up in here. This is where Neuve Revergrad is on the regular series. And the other thing I was thinking about even more is like this, rather than even, like we had put this coal mine, which is really not in the greatest place, but there is definitely what I would consider a fairly nice coal mine. That's iron. As far, yeah, see, like it's not the biggest area, like it's only this one kind of spot, but if we sort of went right on that red dot in the middle. Now that's another question I have as far as, it seems like putting it right on that red dot would be bad. And if we zoom in, maybe you guys know, like, I wish they made it more clear because some of these dots are like smaller on the outskirts there. Let's get an idea let's zoom back out so we can move a little quicker. Let's get an idea from back over here. How big? Yeah, see how? Let's zoom back in. Try to put this guy right in the same spot. So see how those last, like I wish they made it like clearer, the exact area of this. I think they're being a bit misleading. Now, maybe you pull from that a little bit. I don't know. Like, but why would it? Why would you do it this way, right? Like, why would you make it harder to see, like where it would be redded out? Now, some of the blocks, if we look real close, let's see, can we get in there? Some of the blocks are obviously bigger, but they don't necessarily coincide with the red line. Like, it's hard for me to point, but like right over in this area, you'll see that like when I move it back here, those blocks are like full size and then they diminish. And then by the time it gets over, those yellow ones are smaller. But if you look, it appears to me that there's other not so big blocks that are red, right? So I'm not sure I understand that. And I don't know. It just seems like it could be a little bit confusing. So I guess I say all of that because if we're going to put this over here, I think we're better off putting it like right in the middle of that red. Like, I don't think it's worth having two of them, but we are losing some solid green ones too, right? I mean, we could put two, but at this point we just go someplace else and at some point, right? I think we're going to pick up enough of that, even though, yeah. So you see what I'm getting at there? But anyway, if we put that coal in, in the light of becoming self-sufficient, and then if we come over here, we have, we could probably pick out a good, see there's some real good iron mine locations up here. And we kind of want it up out of the way. This is right where we have the new iron. Yeah, I think like right in this area is where the new steel thing is in the regular series. But we could probably get that and get like, picture our road would come up right through here. So like get a steel mill over here, get a, this would be like coal, but then not just do the steel mill, which I know that's going to take away from the steel mill a bit, but I wouldn't mind getting like some bricks and stuff. We don't need that many bricks. Like, it doesn't have to be a big industry. Certainly not something we would export from here, but could make some of the nice brick houses cheaper. Let me read your guys' comments about this, and then in a moment we'll get our time going forward. Other than that, yeah, there's just a lot of iron in here. It's almost a shame there's not more coal. Now, there is more coal over here. This is where our coal mine thing is on the other map. It's like, see, this is like not the greatest, but it's coal. No, I think there's a little more down this way, and not too much. I think it's even called weak coal mine, but it's something. Oops. All right, let me read a few comments here. Yeah, maybe what I could do, well, it wouldn't take that long. Well, I guess I could think of, I was going to say, I could name towns like around me in the United States. Fair number of, most of the town names here come from either Britain, like, I don't want to say New York, but obviously you got York. But even here, we have a Chester that's not overly far. We have, Philadelphia is a little bit of a strange name, isn't Wilmington? I guess there is a Wilmington in Britain as well. And then Harrisburg, I don't know if that's the state capital of Pennsylvania. I don't know if there's any Harrisburg, and there's a lot of names of towns in Britain. But I think a fair number. Then another thing we have is some names that are like from the Indians. Like, I guess they called a place something, and the English who came here adopted that. Someone is speaking another language, which is wonderful, but I hope that they don't expect me to understand that unless there's a translator in the crowd. We will definitely need one of those. Well, if we could get steel, once you get steel up, whatever surplus you have from your steel mill could certainly, yes. I mean, I think you could sustain. It's steel. It's all about the steel. I think the early game is, you can kind of go whichever way you want. The biggest thing you have to watch out for, I think, in the early game is really, that things are cheap. Don't get lulled into a false sense of, oh, I can afford this, because, yeah, it's not costing us that much at this moment to import the food that we need, right? Like almost nothing at this point. But when you get more and more and more, well, this is the second day of the month. But if we look here, even, it's not costing us that much, but we don't have hardly any people we're feeding, right? Like a couple hundred or whatever it is. So, when you start getting into thousands of people, this starts, even the food, alcohol, and electronics and clothing especially, like you're not buying a ton of those things, but it really starts to, you need to have a good industry to make up for that. And like on the regular series, I'm throwing hundreds of people into a new like living zone, right? And I mean, that's, as they expand, you're talking your expenses going up by the thousands, like thousands and thousands. I don't know if you guys have watched the series, but you'll, I forget exactly. I recorded a little bit ahead, but I think, you'll see shortly if, that our money is more tenuous than you'd believe. I can cut, and I had a few episodes back about a month ago, like 10 million spent in one episode. So yeah, we really need to get the farming and get these things going. And I know that was one of your guys' votes. I like to look at this as my way of deciding what to build next. And as you see, even though we're not building a lot, our biggest expense was the steel. And we only that was only for 11 tons of steel. So you can imagine, I think we estimated it was around, well, if we start from this side of the thing, which really we'd probably rather be on this side, because even this bridge would be very expensive. Maybe we'd even do it different if we have more industry up this way. But if we build a steel thing to here from, not steel, railroad tracks to here, it was going to be about 230,000. So, and a good chunk of that would have been the steel, like more than half. So if we can cut that out of it, then yeah, I think we can, and then the other thing that happens is you don't have to keep constructing that, right? Like, so if you start running low on steel, or you want to go build some other buildings, if we want to come in here and finish up these pipes, it's you don't have to do all the construction in the world at once, right? You could have an idle group of construction workers waiting until you get recovered. Yes, I do agree. And that Roscoe, that is absolutely a great idea and a good plan. You can see the only reason I haven't attached up this is because there's a pretty big hill. And I know once we get this construction office going, we can get a few vehicles in there and we can kind of road level this out a little bit, just so it would be all red and ugly. Here, let's see what I mean? Like, I could just road level that. And then the only other thing is we can't go too far without building, construction offices, right? But we've got, I worked out this road where, and I'm not sure how well it'll work, but a road crew doesn't need any people. So, I mean, there's no reason. It just might take forever and a day if we didn't build another depot someplace. But I don't see any reason why they couldn't build up to here. Fuel could start becoming an issue. But then by the time they really push too far, maybe we could talk about another town and other things. Now, one of our rules is that we would not build new towns, right? We would build in the area of the old towns. Now, there's quite a few of them. This doesn't count. I guess it has to have a house, other than, I guess, if we really want to. Like, Nino was a town before, and I know that's also a person. That's why I put, maybe we should just put ton after all of these, right? Nino ton. That kind of sounds funny. Oh, what happened there? Oh, it it got deleted. Did I delete that? I don't know. Somebody will have to go back and look at the replay, but maybe it's because there's no houses there? No. I don't know. I don't know what I just did. Sorry, Nino. No, you don't even have a town name after you. All right. Well, you get the idea. This was a city. I don't know. I guess we could build something there. There is actually iron right over here, but then there's good iron all kind of in this area here. And then there is some more oil over here, I think. Or is it over here? But I really haven't played that much on this side of the map because I was, with my regular series, that's most of my playing time. But we could take a look over here for things, and I could definitely turn off the wireframe too. All right, well, there we go. We spent enough time talking, 20 minutes. Let's play time, and I did check before this thing even started that we are actually constructing there, and then we had are we constructing this? Yeah. And then are we constructing on this? Yes. Okay, good. You really want to watch out for building your... Though I think they kind of fixed it. I don't know if they go to the train state or the gas... They used to go to the gas stations with no power. And it seems like they don't do that so much anymore. Maybe somebody can confirm that. But I haven't really... It used to be that like you tried to build something from a construction office like this, and if this didn't have power to it, they just all went there and sat, and it just ground your construction to a halt. So maybe that's not so true anymore. What is this? Oh, that's my kilometer marker. For those of you wondering how long a kilometer is, there it is. That's about a kilometer in the game as per my calculations. And that's based on the fact that if you come up to a building, and, well, not so much here, but when you're building it, or no, I'm sorry, not so much a building, but when you come to here, and if we were to go and look at this, for those of you who have never seen me do this, where is our... Like if you were to put this building here and then count the wireframe, right? Like if I go like here, see how that's 30 meters, but it's like to the middle of that building probably. So it's a pretty reasonable assumption that each one of these blocks represents 10 meters. So this would be 100 blocks. And what that is, if we can't, probably want to delete that. But what that is 588 work days worth of railroad track. And that should be about a meter. Now, the only problem with measuring that way is that you had to have a flat spot or a flat-ish spot like this, right? You couldn't have it too up in the air kind of thing. Yeah, rail building is not particularly fast. And the one thing I did learn, I guess you could call it like a pro tip of sorts, is that you are definitely, no doubt about it, better off, especially if this might not be so bad if you're running all the way across country, but even then, you're better off building your regular rail and then upgrading it to electrical rail, because like each segment, it's almost like if you like the problem with building the roads here is that they have like the different stages. So in some ways it's probably the same thing. Like you're probably better off building the whole gravel road, but it's really like just exacerbated, made that much worse by the every little rail section. Every time you put in like a little signal and all that kind of stuff, like they go and finish the rail, and then they go all the way back to the depot, and then they come back with the supplies to finish this little section of track. And then, with the electrical, and then they go back and then they get the next other supplies and they come back and do another little section. But if they're just doing rail, they just go boom, and they keep going with the rail the whole way, right? Now, like I said, I don't think it makes so much of a difference with the roads, in part because these trucks are making multiple trips out here. All right, so let's turn this purchasing down. Does that make sense? Like, it's fine to buy a little bit extra now, but what we really need, you know what? We're going to turn off the purchasing, aren't we? And let's go purchase YB cheap. We're going to purchase another cistern, which in America, when you say cistern, I immediately think of like a poop tank. I'm not sure if that's... Oh, look, we get the bigger... Is that the bigger truck? No. Now, there's another tractor trailer that holds... Yeah, that's sort of weird that that would be a tractor trailer but hold less than this guy. This guy would be a massively heavy truck, I would think. All right, well, anyway, we're going to get one of these since... Yeah, you are going to go from here, and then you're going to come to here, and I want you to get some fuel, and you can wait until you're empty over here. Good. So that might even help these guys a little bit, right? All right, this guy is assigned, right? No boards. Let's make sure. I don't think we're having a problem, but it's good to check. It's one of the ways I find the problems a lot of times is look for the end result kind of things, right? In other words, the end result of a lot of industry is us constructing things, like of certain industries. You know, once we have a steel, prefabs, when you have all this stuff working and you're not purchasing it, well, when you see missing boards, you might question, well, wait a minute, do we have boards online, right? But since we're purchasing them, it's not going to be a problem now. All right, so now, yeah, one of the problems I have is I really want to get this construction done because I can't really, it's hard to plan out until you have a construction office. It doesn't have to have power and all that stuff, but yeah, I could probably end up assuming it's here. I also want to see how far, I want to stretch this out as far as I can from here, right? Let's turn off this wire frame again. Sorry, I keep leaving that on. Right? Like, I don't necessarily want to assume that, I mean, that's probably about as far as I want to get it. There's a flat spot up here, and I'd bet you money that's as far as I can level. But I would like to push it into here as far as we can get it, because it's probably going to be one of those semi-abandoned construction offices in the future. Not bad to have around the map for purposes, but you know, the kind that you just never use too much after its initial road building intention. Hey, Steve, welcome. Just saw your chat. So, yeah, well, we're on fast forward speed, so we're doing the best we can here, and we're about to get more power. Yeah, that's another question when it comes to, you know, we don't have a ton of money. We're not going to be able to blaze forward, you know, as fast as some people might want or expect. But we could also talk about, you know, there's no reason not to do this coal. Though I think if we only have so much money, the reason I mentioned the money is that, like, I'd almost rather build the coal up here and then be able to get the steel, right? And then if we decided to, we could come back down here and take advantage of this coal here's an ore processor, a little storage, and then do the brick factory here, say. Does that make sense? So we could, or maybe even put our own power plant in, because right now we're not spending a lot on power, but we're also not, you know, we're not doing a lot of industry either. I guess this guy probably sucks up a good amount. Okay, good. We're doing pretty well with our exports too. As in, we're not backing up with them. We're taking full advantage of our money. Now, I'm not real impressed with the number of workers, so probably in the beginning of the episode we should take a look here. Let's see, make sure. Yeah, I'm very okay with a minimum number. Let's look at we got 102. So even though that's not the number of people we have in and around town, it still gives us, it'll give us some indication of if it's going up or down, right? So that'll be a good thing. Man, unemployed's really hard to read too. But good, we don't have any professors anymore. Now if we look around, we got 6 educated. Yeah, 22 workers. Just try to get an idea how many people. I never really remember, but if you get this, you know, ballpark idea in your head, yeah, no university educated here. Oh, there goes our ambulance. Uh-oh, somebody's in trouble. Where are you going? Yeah, rarely ever catch an ambulance. I guess I don't pay much attention. Oh, well, damn, you scoop and go. He doesn't mess around, does he? There's no, that is something that has actually cost people their lives. You want an EMT that pretty much scoops you up and gets your butt to the hospital. Like, some of the paramedics and EMTs tend to think they're doctors on the scene, and it's like, no, just get the person in the damn ambulance and get them to the hospital where they got all the machines and all, you know? So, yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. So, what do we have, like, you know, not just the population, but this educated I'm kind of looking at, too. Yeah, that's not real good. I mean, we could go around the map and look for some more educated types. Make sure we have the critical mass, right? I think we're on the borderline of having enough people. That's one of the things to look at now, just sort of get an idea. Like, there we go. So we got one more person, I think, if I just remembered that right. You know, like, so, and we got plenty of people around the map who should stay there. I don't know, you guys may have watched the tutorial thing, and Radomir had made a comment that this map is harder. And what Radomir likes to do, from what I've gathered, is if you in place the rule that you're going to use the existing town here, then it is harder, right? Because this is not the ideal shape of a town, so it would be more difficult to try to get in here and keep all these people happy. But if you're just using these as like manpower sinks, it does make the populated map a bit easier at that point. But yeah, we should definitely keep an eye on. I think we have plenty of people for what we're doing, or attempting to do. One of the issues we're going to have over here, I think, is just we'll make sure that they're not too far. This is a little rickety bridge. At some point, I guess we want to replace that, huh? Oh, look, you know what? I'm looking down that bridge, and I don't feel quite so bad because the developers put this bridge in, right? And it's not straight. So it's pretty close, but look, that's not actually dead straight. There's a little jog here and another little jog there. Like, I'm constantly building. I wish it would snap a little bit, or at least it would be nice if they had a snapping, or maybe a little guideline that would come out where you could tell from your bridge legs if you were straight or not. Like, good. I don't feel so bad. See, look, that's definitely turned. You know. Yeah, because all we did was repave the road. Yeah, here's another town of the past, right? Brosphere. Brospine. All right, so how are we doing? Are we getting people over here? Well, we're making construction at times. How is our little construction office doing? Yeah, we could probably use... I like to have 2 buses. What do you... I don't want to spend too much of our money, but it's not like we're... Yeah, another bus is going to make more sense because we're starting to build further away, I think. What do you guys think? The Fox Gaming, I'm not 100% sure what you mean by how close should the buildings be. The biggest, as close as possible, I guess you could argue for the people, right? Like the more of these houses that you jam in together, the better. I tend to, see if I did it here. It's like, see, this has 2. And then the only problem with having 2 spaces, like 20 meters, I would call that, right? Now, they're not quite, they're a little wonky, not quite with the grid, but the biggest issue with this is that if you try to put in a footpath, there's just barely enough room, right? And then see how that might not snap where you want it, and then you might end up with a road that's like this and this. Does that make sense? Like, you may not have nice straight footpaths at that point. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense or not, but so yeah, you should probably at least have 2 meters between these kind of buildings. And then the other thing that I like to do as far as like seeing what you can build where is use this in reverse. This is the substation tool, and it's the only well, one of the only ways you can really measure, but it's a good way to measure because you need to have power, right? So, and you need the other things, but let's say, like we're talking about, well, how far away will they walk, right? They'll usually walk between 250 and maybe at the very most like 350 meters to get someplace. And that depends on their path, right? Because on this gravel road, they're not going to be willing to walk as far. They walk faster. Like they only walk for so long, not distance, like time. So if you have good footpaths and good roads, they'll go a little bit further. But knowing that like 250 meters is a good number to use to be safe, like we can go 250 meters from that one, right? So we could go out to like here. And people could walk. Now keep in mind your footpaths may not be quite as straight as this line is, so you don't want to push it too far. But yeah, we could probably build houses throughout this whole region. Now keep in mind too, it's kind of to the furthest thing. The guys out here probably aren't going to be able to get to the hospital. They might not be able to get to that school. So you kind of end up, with houses that are like 3 deep or around one of these. These are kind of turned sideways, but if we were to lay up houses like 1 row, 2 rows, by the time you get to the 3rd row, you're getting kind of far away from the other side of town. So what I tend to do is build this box of these things, right? We got some sports, we got a pub, we got the cinema, we got that. So this is like its own little box, right? And then the kindergarten and the school are on the outskirts, but the kindergarten tends to fill up more quickly anyway. Like we don't have that many houses. Look how many kids we have. So it's kind of good to maybe put a kindergarten in each. Like imagine you built your house in kind of like an X shape or a cross shape, however you want to look at that. With this being the center of the cross, like you'd have different quadrants, right? Like you could almost argue that each quadrant could get a kindergarten, and then maybe between the quadrants, like this school would probably cover this side of town, like maybe 2 schools would work. And I didn't get into all that. And by the way, we're on the really hard settings, and our people are like extremely happy. And this kind of came up in a comment. You don't need a hospital, and you don't need the sports in order to call a town like survivable, get started, right? Obviously, the more stuff you give them, but I think, like they get some happiness. I think the benefit to giving them sports is that they don't go to drink. I think they prefer to go do these other things, and then if they don't get alcoholism, then they live longer. So I think this pub alone would keep people quite happy in the beginning. Now, the other thing about the sports is that you can't really get that many of them in there, right? So that's sort of a negative, where with the pub, you can get quite a few more. Now, we have our bar staff turned down quite a bit just because we're conserving on people. Did I buy the bus, or did I just... No, I just sat there talking about it, and then I never bought it. Yeah, I'd like for the construction workers... Again, they'll only wait on the bus for a certain length of time, like 3 or 4 hours. I'm forgetting right this moment. So you really want to try to get the fastest bus, like that carries people. Like these are micro buses. Like, we'd rather have. Oops, let's go back to bus. Yeah, only 1 page. So even though this one may carry a few more people, and same thing with this one, a couple more, 20% more here. This one carries a lot more people, 82, but it's slower than this one that goes 85. Now, again, we don't necessarily need to be moving 80 people at a time for construction anyway, at least not on all the construction projects. So for me, I'd rather have that extra kilometers per hour, and then that way we're a little bit better off with like trying to get that little extra distance, right? Like when we're trying to build something all the way over here, it's that much further that you could get workers before because they'll send a bus out with people, and then by the time they get there, there's no people in it. So that's a thing. So yeah, I tend to like to go with the fastest buses. So there we go. That's the fastest, most reasonable size. you know, I didn't want to get a micro bus for it. Oh, there we go. Look, we got another construction office. All right, so the question is, do we buy more construction equipment? I think at this point, yeah, I usually end up with a lot of extra bulldozers, but I think I want to try to be careful about my bulldozers, but I don't think I'm going to replace these guys, right? But we don't necessarily need both of them. And buying vehicles in the beginning is not a bad way to go. So let's, I think, you know, because they're cheaper now to buy than later. Then again, you could argue inflation. Like, in other words, people say, oh, it cost so much, it was so much less in the 1950s. Well, yeah, but you make more money. It's all relative, right? Like, it's more important, like, do you make, you know, if I make $10 an hour, well, people in the 50s were only making $2 an hour. So it's like, yeah, the thing was only $2, but, you know, is the thing $10 now? Because then really it's the same price, right? Does that make sense? Like, you know, if the thing is still $10 and I make $10 an hour, it costs me just as much work as it cost that guy in the 50s to get that. All right, anyway, I'm talking too much, aren't I? All right, let's, the bottom line with all that, by the way, look out for the Americans do have the biggest and the best excavator and bulldozer, but we can't get to that right now. So I just want to get an excavator and bulldozer over here, and I always like to go with the fastest one. And then that way we can do leveling, because I think having these in the long run will be good for a lot of reasons. So let's get this one going first, right? And road, regular road. Yeah, the coal is like right over here, so I'm thinking if we just can get up this hill and I put the wire frame back on, hopefully I'll remember to turn it off. And we have a bit of a natural, yeah, look, that doesn't even really need to be leveled that much. Yeah, you might as well level, it's free. Until they come up with another mechanism, huh? Smooth that slope out some. And I think you would do that kind of thing in real life. You might not, you know, like it's pretty common where I live that they cut through little things like this. When I cut through whole mountains and use the road tool, that's just purely abuse. But yeah, a lot of our roads around here have, you know, they're cut through. All right, so now let me just do this real quick. Let's get the, doesn't matter which one, terrain leveling tool. Nope, need a bulldozer. Need a bulldozer. I can level here. Can I level here? Yes, I can. Can I level there? Nope. Nope. Yep. So that's a circle. Yep. Nope. There we go. So why don't we build right, you know, try to make it look as natural as kind of possible. We can cut off this a little bit, but just pretty much where I was saying, right? This flat spot up here. And I think I don't know if that's a good or bad thing in my life that I've spent so much time I can guesstimate exactly how far away. Yeah, see, that one we can build to, but I think we'd want to, yeah, so we're not going to be able to continue it too much further because I can't, yeah. Now, it will let you, it did let me level that little extra bit there, but, you know, so I think we'll just call it quits here because then we can kind of decide on where we're going once we get this guy built, right? And in my opinion, this guy should just be like a little road off to here. You know what? Just trying to think. Yeah, you know what? Change that already. We can level this. So let's do so. So what I want to do is just level this out a bit and put them on this side because I think I'm a little more inclined to have a depot or trains along that river there, right? It'll be a little bit better, I think. Like, in other words, if we're going to come out of here with a train one day, I think it's more inclined to head over this way, like along the river, right? Than up into the mountain. it doesn't matter. We can always knock this down if it's really annoying. So let's come here, and I think while we're here, we can put in a gas station. A little closer to the road. No, you were happy right where you were, weren't you? There you go. Kind of double click there on myself. All right, so now construction office, and yeah, you're not real happy with that, are you? Yeah, we'll get this guy connected. Matter of fact, we'll delete this road altogether for now. I don't mind. Yeah, well, we're going to leave that road there, even though we'll probably just finish like this section and then we'll build another road this way. Well, you know what? If we're going to leave it there like that, we can just, because then we'll delete that back, right? So once this is built, then we can connect these guys both back up to it. Cool. All right, so now let's get them. Did these guys jump right on it? I don't know. Let's see. How far is there? I think we may be out of their zone of. No, they should be. See, this is what I'm talking about. I think they should find that road, but I'm wondering if it's just a time thing. Now let's see if we. Yeah, we don't want this guy doing it. Why won't they find that road? This is what I was talking about. You know, we can assign it to them, but maybe it's because it's, you know, not fully in their zone. I don't know. Okay, good. Look, that's all just one big, well, almost just one big stretch. All right, so now we can come over here, and I don't want to slow them down there too. Guys, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but I'm back in the 21st century. I don't know. The power company here has done something in this area that just for like no explicable reason, I tend to lose the power. I think they got something overloaded or something. I just got back into the game. This is, you know, pretty close to where we're at. I guess we didn't, you know, I lost a few minutes there. But more importantly, is I know there, you know, we had quite a few people on the stream, and we've lost them as well. So now I'm assuming this is even working. It seems to be. Let me double check by going to the actual page, make sure I can hear myself and whatnot. Nothing else bad happened, right? Oop, I lost 2 subscribers. I hope they didn't quit because of the power company. Sometimes it's weird. Sometimes it reports for subscribers and then it like knocks them back off. So let's see. Now, yeah, I don't know what we should do. I mean, I'm assuming we could continue, right? Spending about an hour. That's not what I want. Sorry about this. Well, I'm out of my groove. There we go. Yeah, no, I can hear myself talking, so let's close that so I don't get feedback, right? Yeah, there we go. Well, anyway. Yeah, well, thank you, Dennis. Well, thank you for sticking to it so long. I can't tell. It would be nice if I could tell who was on. Oh, you know, what is this? Yeah, I can't really see who's still here and who's not, so. But I'm glad you're still here, Dennis. I don't know. Does it give any kind of a notice? I'm not even sure. Is there a way for me to like, you know, send out a notice that we're back? You know, like obviously, yeah. I don't think there necessarily is, or at least I might have to look into it. I really don't plan on the power failure, right? I guess I probably should have. And then the other side of that is, well, you know, here's my thinking. Do we continue having lost, you know, a lot of people who would normally want to see all of this? In addition, it looks like the video. So I guess what I'd like to do is give it a few minutes. Maybe we'll get back to where we were with the time paused. And, hope enough of you guys come back that it makes sense. Yeah, I'm amazed that it's still like was just sitting there buffering. Like when I came back, it's like I couldn't do anything. I was in the dark ages. I might as well have been living in the year 922 or something like that, right? No power. And I'm sure if I lived in the year 922, I would have had other things that I wouldn't have planned on having power and live streaming, right? Let's, I guess I'll just continue, at least try to get us back to where we were. Now, no, it doesn't look like I even leveled right here, did I? No, let's level it out a little bit more since we know we can. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when I was a kid, I lived in the same house. And we used to have just like one little power line that ran up the street. And every time there was a thunderstorm, it seemed like, maybe not every time, but very often we would lose our power. And they went and like upgraded the lines when I was like a teenager. And, I had moved out of the house for a while and whatnot, but not to get into a side story too much. But, things were better for, like we were all really happy. And then recently they built like 40 houses down the street from me in a development. And since then, it's just, I can't really blame it on that, but I don't have a whole lot else to blame it on. Like, I mean, for all I know, it could have been a car accident. Somebody hit a pole. When you call the power company here, I don't know, they're one of the they're not the worst bureaucratic company to deal with, but they're up there, right? Like they're just up there. So what do you guys think? We got 9 people back already, which is at least half, which is great. That's just good. I think it was around close to 20 people, 19 or so. But so if a lot of people come back, then I'm more than happy to keep going, right? This is my plan, and this is definitely what I wanted to do. And we had a bigger crowd than we've had in a while. I saw Nanad came back after talking about him earlier. Hopefully you guys were planning on sitting down for the afternoon and are keeping an eye on it, right? There we go. So let's re-put this guy back in as one job like we had before, right? And then I think pretty close to one of the last things I did was assign. Yeah, that was the mystery of why this guy isn't auto searching and finding that. And I'm just assuming that wherever the start point of this construction is just not in his wheelhouse, right? So we'll get him to work on that. And then I think we were going to come down here, right? So I'll leave the wireframe on for another minute. And what I wanted to do, we may make this hopefully one construction project, but that might, good, it's lowering. Sometimes when you do it from this far away, it doesn't lower. We'll just be kind of cheaty with our tool here, right? Make a nice flat road, at least this far. Won't take that long. I don't have the disc. Like I really was unprepared for the whole experience, Dennis. In the sense that I don't have Discord on my phone, and I have a phone that's like a Samsung Galaxy 2 or something. Oh, we got a little road. Let's get rid of this little road here. It's messing me up. So it's like I assume Discord might work on it, but like to give you guys an idea, like I couldn't even read the comments on the YouTube. Like YouTube just gives me messages that are saying, "No, you're just on too old a phone, buddy. You need to upgrade." So in any event, here we are. We got 11 people back, so I think we should continue. And I think I can go back in. I've never really edited one of the live streams. There is a feature on YouTube where you can sort of edit things. It's not a full editing thing like the software I use to make the videos, but at least I could put in a comment to say, okay, skip ahead to this time, and because I guess when this video goes up, there's going to be like, an hour gap in it, right? Yeah, I want to be, especially on this side, I want to be far enough away. Let's do a little leveling while we wait for some people to get back, right? I want to be far enough away from this road that I can easily flatten this area, because I'm thinking that this might be a good place to put some more train tracks, right? And it really wouldn't be that hard. A little bit time consuming, but there's going to be time. I don't have time moving either, do I? All right, since it seems like enough people have come back, and thank you guys for coming back, and I apologize for, there's really not, I feel like apologizing. I'm not sure why, because I didn't do anything. I was probably as upset or more upset than anybody else. Like, all right, there we go. So we got this plan. I talked about putting time back on. All right, let's take off our wireframe. All right. Yeah, so do we have power over here? No. Why is it without power supply? Yeah, why would that be without power? It looks like it's just looking for wires that are missing here. Yeah, the wire goes across there. Is it all the way back? Oh, look at that. Last little... Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. The last little bit of wire is missing. And that would be these guys. And I think we should just purchase that with some rubles for the sake of getting it done, right? There we go. So now we can start using our gas station. Now, does this guy... Yeah, I don't know if he used much fuel. I think one of the things, too, if you pause time while you're leveling like that, they don't use any fuel, right? If we started leveling again, we would start using these guys' fuel, which is, really, I don't want to say cheaty, but certainly taking advantage of a game mechanic, which I do all the time when it comes to that leveling. So there we go. All right, so good. So we got this road. Is it being worked on? Yep. So it'll be a while before they get all that done. Then once we get this in, then we can really start planning what's going on over here. Let me read some of your comments, and since you guys are getting back in, like I said, hopefully, I'm sure we lost some people not to return until maybe next week, but there's not much I can do about it. I guess I could get a generator in my house. I've thought about it, but it's awful expensive, and yeah. Other than like this circumstance where I'm trying to live stream and needing the air conditioner, that would be another. But I got a little generator, like a little portable one you could just about lift into the back of your truck or car. And in like extreme emergencies, when I've ever lost my power, I can hook it up to enough stuff. Like I have a electrical panel that I've put in to especially be able to, but it's like a manual thing. It's not like automatic energy switch kind of thing. You know what? I didn't actually swear, Shunter. I'm old enough now, and this power has gone out enough times in the last few weeks, not, of course, during a live stream, that it's just like, yeah, oh heck, not again. What the heck? I mean, I might have said a little cuss word, but not too much swearing, like, what can you do, right? It's like, if a meteorite landed in my front yard and took out the power line, I could cuss at God, I guess, but, it certainly has me questioning what's going on, because in the last, 2 months, I've lost my power. It's very similar to that. I'd say, 6 times, 5 times, which is just really weird, just not used to losing. And there's no indication. It just, boom, goes out. And then it comes back half hour later. So I don't know. Like I said, it's a beautiful day here. I mean, you almost couldn't ask for a better day. It's like, for the Celsius people, it's like 28 as a high, right? For the Fahrenheit people, 83 is the high temperature. and a little bit of a breeze, but nothing to knock a tree down. I mean, I guess a branch could have come down, but it was ready to come down anyway. If this wind, it's not, you could hardly call it wind. It's like a nice little breeze. So if you go out there, it's a gorgeous summer afternoon. When will we add rails? Well, after we get the steel going. So we're building our way up here, and I didn't hear, again, we were just sort of really getting into the rhythm of things, and we haven't really done much but build this one construction office so far this live stream. And, we wanted to get into here and probably build maybe, and I was sort of looking for your guys' opinion. Nobody was saying otherwise, but I'd also like to get a agricultural thing going over here, right? A farm, I think they call it. And then, we'll probably build a town over in this area. And then, so after we got the steel going, then it really becomes worth it. Otherwise, our problem now is that we don't have nearly enough money to realistically, talk about getting a steel mill going. Now, one of the things we could probably do, we do have enough money. I mean, it wouldn't hurt us to probably get a road type construction crew in here, right? So that now that we have this road planned out, they could start building it. Because once they get each stretch they get done, we'll shorten the trips for these trucks, which wouldn't be a bad thing. All right, so let's why don't we do that? And so I think, we already have the excavator and the bulldozer. That we don't really need both of them, but the biggest thing I'd like to do, and what I consider a thing, is get dump trucks. And I really wish some of these dump trucks were more competitive. Yeah, it's just this one. And it's just, why don't we get 4 dumpers? We probably should have, before I built all those, I guess we could have transferred from people from up here, but that's all right. Well, buying the trucks early is not the end of the world, I don't think. Though, again, like I was trying to say at one point before the stream ended, I think when you adjust for inflation, things cost more, but also you make more money when you export stuff. So, I'm not so sure that it's that wise to purchase so many vehicles, but this will be a good, road paving will be something we're going to do a lot of. So what we do need to do, we're not going to do any buses. We need to buy, let's get them a roller and a paver. All right, no buses, so that they won't be able to do short stretches, but I don't think we'll have many short stretches, right? Because you don't need people when you have the machines on here. So, we should start assigning these. We can assign people just so we got them all assigned, even though it'll probably yell at us that gravel will have to come from here, asphalt. Right, we might as well just assign them all, because who knows what we'll get into in the future, though we may need to change them by then. Good, so now they're assigned. So they got auto search on. Let's cut that down to road. So what is this road you want to do? Okay, that is the road. What is this one? No, you know what? Don't work on that one. I always tend to do that. Forget to delete those little bits off the end there. Also, build a steel mill rather than a power plant because it uses less steel. A small one might not be. What start has the cheapest prices? I think all the pricing is the same. And again, it's all sort of relative, right? So, I mean, in other words, it could matter in the very beginning when you don't have any industry, but once you get up and going, then it really doesn't. I'm not sure how much it really matters. Like, in other words, when we look at our pricing here, if all of the prices go up evenly, and I generally assume that they do from my observations, and I haven't really studied it in that much depth, again, you're going to get more money for your bitumen. Now the problem is, do certain things go up disproportionately, right? So if steel becomes more like 5 times as expensive, but the bitumen's only 3 times as expensive, then you're not going to get more money for your bitumen. But the fact is if you're self-sufficient and you're making all this stuff, now you've hedged your bet, right? So if steel goes up and you're making more steel, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can export more steel or whatever the case is. So, but as far as, steel is really like just a necessity. The Fox Gaming, it's almost like air. Air is less important in this game than steel. Other than, I guess that's not true, but it is, right? Like, there is no air picture in our atmosphere in this game. There's no worry. Well, that's not true. We do have air pollution, don't we? Never mind. All right, I take that back. But you get the idea. Like, once we build the steel mill, then building the power plant becomes way cheaper, right? I don't even know if we'd build a power plant over here, but, we do have the coal mine there. But you see what I'm saying? Like, everything becomes way cheaper once you have the steel mill. And if we take a look at our steel pricing, let's just take a quick look. This is the other thing, not to particularly, let's do last year. See, it's just steady creeping up on us. It's not way fast, but it's definitely tending to go up. Now, I don't know, one day they may change this stuff. We're only in February of this year, so. And it's not too bad at 480. You can live through 480, but the problem is, like before, it's only been a few years and it's already gone up 100, right? So like, by the time you get to like 1970, it can be up over 2,000. So if you don't get a good start and get a steel mill, it could really hamper how much you can construct. It's not the end of the world, but it can hurt you. All right, so there we go. So we're working on some roads. So what do you guys think? So are we going for like the steel mill? Now the problem is the steel mill is that it's not just the steel mill. It's iron mine and coal mine, and now that's not even totally true. We could just build the steel mill and import the stuff, but that's not cheap either. It's pretty expensive. But I think it was worth it, at least on the other map when I was a bit closer. Like, right, I built that on the other map. The regular series, where the heck are we? Yeah, this is the area I built the steel mill. So you can see there wouldn't have been that much delivery charge. This is where the Farminsky is like over in this area. You can kind of see why. Nice big flat open area, pretty flat open area. So that steel mill is somewhere like right over here, which is a lot closer to the border than we are over here, right? Because we're kind of in the middle of the map. So that's another big thing when it comes to considerations. Like, just whatever you do here is going to be more expensive when you start in the center of the map. So, which is good. Gives you a little extra challenge, right? Yeah, so it doesn't look like we totally recovered. We've got 9 people here, but hey, I'm glad some of you guys came back. Stuck with me for that extra special hour of nothingness. Yeah, the biggest thing I would say too, Dennis, it wasn't so much about cussing, or what was that, Shunter? Yeah, it wasn't so much about cussing. It was more about, all right, well, now what do I do? Like there's things I could go do, but I wanted to make sure, that look at him go. There was things I could go do, but many of them were outside. I wanted to be here if the power came back. And most of the things I would do inside, I guess I could have started cleaning or something. I do have public water, so at least my neighbors right next door, they still have a well. So when we lose power like that, they lose their water, which isn't a lot of fun. Well, here's what I would say about the best field for farming. The bigger field involves less driving back and forth from the farm. But depending on your scenario, right? Like the shape of your farm, it's kind of hard to get all of the big farm entrances really close to the farm, right? Not unless you do like the quote perfect layout. Now, if you go look, I have a whole video about some of this stuff, like proving that the most yield is going to come from the big fields. But I'd say this: you could lay big fields out in an inefficient way, and the medium fields would actually yield you more, right? So if you're trying to jam a farm into, say, some less than ideal spot, like say you wanted to put it here, that's not really enough room to properly lay out all the big fields in this area, right? So you might be better off going with medium fields, do the big fields where you can, but then put the medium fields in. And the thing I would say is the small fields are not a waste of time per se, but they really don't compare. I mean, if you've got a special circumstance, I would say you're probably good to go with the small fields, but I'd really just avoid using them if I could at all get, and they're not, it's not usually that much harder to get a medium field in, right? Like versus a small field, like, but if that small field's like far away from the only reason I'd like, if this was my farm, and I had no other real choice, then I consider putting the smaller fields close to the farm. Now, there's something to be said for the most efficient. There's also, this thing to be said, well, have fun and enjoy it. Like I've heard people talk about, oh, they want a town to farm. The only thing about using the people is, from what I calculated, it's just absolutely not worth it. You're better off just importing the stuff. Now that may not always be true in every circumstance, but but I could see, like, okay, well, you could plop theoretically a small farm, over in this area and have people farm it, but again, have fun with it. And, I think that this game leads itself to wanting, to the challenge of it, right? How are we doing here? Good. I think we're all graveled in. Yeah, we're waiting on asphalt. So, I mean, I like to make rules like, we're not going to, even though I kind of picked a really small town and then just build a normal city to get started, but you could make a rule where you're going to not knock everybody's house down in a populated map. And, our other rule is that we need to have power run to these locations before we can do any construction. Speaking of which, we should probably consider, getting a power over there, right? And we're really, in the long run, going to want what I would call big power. We're not, if we're going to have a steel mill and all that stuff, I think we need to get the big power lines over there. So where is our power coming from? Over here, right? So I think, let's just try to think a minute about the big picture with our power. Like I could see us, even though we ran power to here, right? That's, but I could see us coming back into this area. I think I've stolen the vast majority of the people out of this town. Oh, two big power stations. I just saw your chat. So that's like two regular full-size power stations. Did they get back up, or did they like just have like a, what I'm saying? Like, was it a trip to breaker, or was it a bad thing? Like, yeah, well, I think the time sort of works out a little bit better. Like, it's sort of a shame because there's no perfect time to cover Europe and America. Like, and I don't know, I'm sure the UK people are people. I mean, if I wasn't doing this, I would, on a Saturday afternoon, you know what I mean? That's the day you get out there, you get some stuff done if you have the day off, like, so in the evening, I might be more inclined to come home and watch a YouTube video and so forth and so on. So, yeah. So, in other words, it's probably not the best time in America for people to watch the videos as far as the live stream goes. If I get an impression, it's pretty fairly split between Britain and England. I mean, Britain and America, as far as, or really just Europe in general. But obviously, being an English speaker, it's going to lend itself a little bit more towards English-speaking people, which is to a large extent the UK. Though I know there's other countries that have a good population of English speakers. All right, so while I was talking, I was actually thinking, and I don't want to build stuff too far away, right? And this, like, anytime I cut into a live power line, you guys watch the regular series, you know I'll just, at least that portion of it, I will just have it be, what do you call it? I'll just have it done by the Martians that come in when you pay for the rubles, right? But the other question is if we build it, I think I just want to go like across here, right? That'll, get it in case we decide to go this way. No matter which way we go, like if we want to go this way, we would just continue that line, right? And which is fine. But I think we should build it right over to this way. How's that sound? So put like a switch in here that will just, let's pause it for 1 second. Come here. Now we need to cancel. And I'm just going to put this in here. Now the problem we have with this is that it's not going to be covered by fire trucks. All right, so let's commit to that. Fund with rubles. And fund with rubles. So that'll cost us a good chunk of change. There we go. Get time going again. Then we can just plan this one. Let's keep it up on this ridge a little bit further from where we would ever put too much stuff, right? There we go. Yeah, we might keep railroad tracks coming through there, so let's, not that that matters that much, but and then now see, my problem here is we need to get this designed and put in kind of before we could even build that, right? So the question is, I'm kind of wanting a transformer more over this way. And I'm thinking up on this hill because I think our coal's more over here. Why don't we talk about another switch? No, it wouldn't go that way. Yeah, it's a little bit awkward, isn't it? With the way the hill is and the road would be. Yeah, I need an excavator. Will you turn green for me anywhere? Let's turn on the wire frame and see. Do we even have a chance? Or do we just go? Nah. Alright, so we're going to have to wait. That's okay, right? We can be patient. So once this gets built, then we can do that. How are we doing here? Well, we're paving roads. Good. Oh, what's going on here? Really? What are you doing? I don't think I ever saw this before. I can't really send them anywhere. I guess I could send them just real temporarily, like go back to the depot and get out of everybody's way. Are you not able to even go to the depot? How about you? Can we? Yeah, well, let's pause, or not pause it, but at least slow it down a little bit. Yeah, we're at a complete standstill here, and it looks like, yeah, I mean that's forward on one of these things, right? Because like you get the truck in front of it. So it seems to be the fault of this guy Can we cancel? Cancel? Will that affect you? He is out of fuel, but I mean, we do have fuel and power here. But I don't know of a way to like send him to go get fuel, right? Can we? I think we just have to sell him. Yeah, and then this guy could get in, and then unfortunately, I don't see any. I didn't see any other way around that. So then we'll. Yeah, that was weird. It's. Yeah, I think it was just a. I don't know what he was trying to do. I guess can he not get to there from here? Let's see what he does now. Does he get on that job? Hey, Nanad, welcome back. Yeah, let's try again. You're right. It's fortunately, at least in the past, when all of this has happened, like when because I mentioned these guys. I lost power a few times in the months. It doesn't seem to be just it's like by the day, or like I'll lose it once in a week. It's not like it tends to like come back on and go back off again. Like whatever. I mean, again, and I'm assuming a lot. Like I don't know why it even happened. Just like I don't know why this guy now made it out to there, but he didn't before. I guess it was because he didn't have fuel. But I'm not 100% sure why he didn't have fuel. Unless he like tried to go out there and then couldn't make it back because all those other trucks were behind him. I don't know. All right, we're not going to worry about it too much. We're just going to keep moving forward, right? Yeah, so let's get our time. Let's take a look at our people just to make sure. I mean, it feels like it's been a while, but I guess in some ways it really hasn't, right? Yeah, so at least we have some professors and some students. And I do remember looking. Oh, look, we got less university educated people here. Now, let's see. Can you... Yeah, see, these guys can't get to the regular school. That's not good. Yeah, that's actually kind of a pretty big problem. See, we got 10 uneducated people in that house because of that. I think we need to put in another school. I want to come up here. Well, now, you know what? We can... Paved roads really don't make that much difference when you're in town compared to the gravel roads. So I'm just going to gravel this road a little bit further this way. And this guy's still on auto search, right? So he should... Yeah, there you go. So he auto will do that. And then what I'm thinking of is, even though it seems kind of silly, like say, can these guys get to this school? No, but you know what? Oh, you know what? I have another solution. Doing that didn't hurt, but let's see. Can we get a footpath in now that I look at it? Yeah, I really would like. You know what? Yeah, I'd really like to get. No, don't do that. Stop. Yeah, can we get... Yeah, see, if we do that, it's not going to attach... Yeah, see, I'm not going to be able to attach that guy there. But it would really have been nice to get a footpath there. It might be... Like, sometimes that's the difference. Yeah, I kind of have that road cargo thing if I'm trying to cut it off this way. Is there any way to really... Well, we could do... I don't think this is going to make too much difference. But it's also not going to cost that much money. I mean, that can be the difference sometimes. Little things like that. So I'm not sure how far away. Yeah, see, it's getting into that 300 range, and it's also getting into like, see there. If we look at the range on that, or if we look close, like notice that the dots are further apart on the gravel roads than they are on the walking paths. See that? Like, see how it's a bigger gap? And I think that's saying that they move slower. Like they move faster when they're on the walking path. So if we can get more walking path over to there, they might actually be able to make it. Now, I think that's the benefit to upgrading to the bigger roads too, right? Yeah, thank you, Shunter. I just read your comment. I'm just trying to think. See, you can't get past any of this. It's not like a road where I could attach a footpath. Now, we could talk about, once this is done, we could talk about like a road this way, but I'm not really sure that that's going to be that much better. But yeah, we definitely have to get them. Yeah, are these guys in the same boat? Yeah, let's just see if that footpath makes the difference. How about these guys? No, they seem to be able to get to the school fine. Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame I can't get it out here. Give it one more try. Nah, see, there's no way I'm going to make it. Yeah. No way I'm getting out there. Just too close. And I'm glad I shoved it in there and all, but just too close. All right, well, we'll see what happens. But good, I'm glad we caught that, right? Because we don't want them to be uneducated. And I built this road. If we have to build another school, I really don't want to have to build another school. But this is where we got the educated people coming from, right? We may or may not even build another university in the other town. Which, it is nice to have a university in every town, but it's also, university educated people are in some ways less efficient because they spend time getting university educated. And they don't do you any good or any extra good as far as being better workers or anything like that. Like some games have them being better at their thing. Oh, look at this. We're making good progress here, aren't we? Good. Going to sign the next road. Yep, good progress here. We're paving. It's nice to not have to pay for some. Now, are we not paying for asphalt, right? Let's make sure we got, we are. So we will halt production if we don't have enough, right? And we are paying for cement. But we had enough anyway, so we're doing okay. But we will at this point not pave roads. And that will at least alert us to the fact something's going on with our bitumen. Yeah. You know what? That's a good idea, Dennis. I don't usually like to do that, but you know what? I bet you we can get a footpath. Yeah, you know what? I really need to start using these. I wish these keys were down at the bottom. I would use these if they were at the bottom. Because then I would see them. I don't tend to look up here. And that's true, by the way. That's why you hunt deer from a deer stand, if anybody who's a hunter. Because animals, including us, don't tend to look up as much as, look down. All right, so there we go. So we got another footpath there, which should get them reasonably quickly over to here. And then we could probably get a bus stop here, but I do kind of want a road going this way at some point. You know what? So let's put in a road. Yeah, let's go to about here and then a little bit further. I think that's right. And then I know I won't even commit to that, but then can we get one of these bus stops in? I guess that's what I should do, right? Yeah, no, let's use a new fancy bus stop. I forget that they exist sometimes. Yeah, a little bit further so we can get a footpath in. We'll learn our lesson. Right? Yeah, then I don't even really need to worry about. Yeah, and then we'll see. Can we come right off the middle and attach to there? Yeah. And you guys can go right to the cinema. We can't attach here. Yeah, at some point, this road's going to make a lot of sense to upgrade to other. Yeah, now the shame of this is, yeah, let's go from here. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Stop it. Right, and then, yeah, I guess I have to go a little wider. No, yep, I thought that would work. All right, so eventually if we put more houses this way, we'll have more than enough footpaths right there. All right, how about the hospital? Now they got a good footpath right here. Yeah, so let's see what happens. I'm also real curious to see, so before I even commit to, well, yeah, you know what, we'll commit to the footpaths. We'll commit to the bus stop, because if nothing else, even if we don't use the buses to shuttle students back and forth. Now, the only thing I don't like about that is that students will go here, and sometimes I question their intelligence. Not because they're students, but because they could just walk there. Will they go here first if they could walk to it? And then, yeah, you know what, it might not be a bad idea, because we could probably use more university educated, and this will help them get back and forth to get to the university as well. Like maybe we just make it a two-way street. And then we'll probably already have, we might even just move workers back and forth too, right? I'm not sure how well that'll work, but yeah, it'll be a good little experiment if nothing else, I think. The bus. Okay, so the bus can directly go to the school. Okay, well, good. Well, we can do that too. Yeah, that's something that I don't think of as often as I should. So let's just go get a bus then, is what you're telling me. Go buy a bus, and I don't know how many are we. Well, I guess we should get a let's get a big bus, because it's really not that much more money. And I want you to go from here. Yeah. Now the other problem is, well, you know, the only other benefit, well, whatever. We can get this going ASAP. And I just want you to take students. Right? Yeah, and I don't think this makes any difference. Now, let's hope this the only concern I have is this. Like, hopefully they won't come here waiting for the bus, but I guess it doesn't matter as long as they get to school. Now, once this gets built, I think I do like the idea of potentially getting more people into here, right? Like, if we just have this be a normal bus shuttling people back and forth, and they can, like, the people, if we build more houses, well, we don't want to go too close to this anyway, but if we built more houses, that might help them get into here. And we definitely want to build some more houses, right? Yeah, we probably should put a pollution monitoring station in at some point. Yeah, so how are we doing? Now, this had like 120 people. Now we're down to 99. Yeah, so I'm a little bit concerned about our population stability here. And I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure that it's going down, or is it just that they're not perfectly happy here? Building is without power supply. What? How is that? Okay. How about this building? Now you have power, but you don't. You're just in a bad spot in the world, buddy. Okay, so that might be one of the reasons we're losing it, huh? Do we have any? This is all filled up too, isn't it? Yeah, and you won't reach either. No, but it looks like, yeah, it certainly looks like you should reach there, in my opinion. Look at that. We got it surrounded with darn, you know, how that's not getting power. I'm really not 100% sure. Let's build. I don't think this is going to make a difference, but I am kind of curious. put the wireframe on so I can make this. I don't need these open. I am kind of curious. Can we get down? I'm kind of curious why it seems to go further at times than it does others. Like, does it actually expand along the roads? For example, you know, look, this one's 269, right? Doesn't it look like it should get to this house? And if we do our measuring thing, let's just see if we can tell. Yeah, it's just definitely, for some reason, not getting over. How far away is this? We would have to be... Yeah, and unfortunately, we don't have any more space. Now, we could put a switch in here, but... And that might not be a bad idea, but... Yeah, I mean, I definitely would like to have put... This is exactly where I wanted to build more houses, so... Let's see, which one of these might not being overly used? Do we put in... Yeah, see those... Yeah, this is sort of the problem in some ways, is this guy right here, right? Now, what are you actually feeding? Yeah, I'm thinking we demolish this guy, or you know, build another one just a little bit closer over here, and then just get rid of this guy because he's really just not doing what I wanted him to do. So let's do one more row, just sort of set up a grid, right? And then let's just take a look. Right, and then where are you? Yeah, I mean, we got this switch right here. Do we have... I can't even really... Okay, it's going this way. Yeah, so I think what I would do is take this over to here and then that over to there, right? Does that make sense? So in other words, get rid of this guy, take this wire, tuck it in here, take this one, go over there. All right, so let's let these roads get built. That'll slow some things down, but I think it's an improvement we need to make. Do I AFK on my map? Not much. I'm more inclined to... I'm not sure what map you mean exactly, but as a general statement, no. But I have my old computer that I watch YouTube and whatever else on the internet, so I'm more inclined to keep an eye on things while I watch YouTube on the other computer type thing. Like, you know, instead of going down and watching TV, I'll have the game going. And I mean, that's not to say I don't do a load of laundry or, you know, I mean, I have snuck off at times when it was really truly going to be boring. But no, there's, generally speaking, in this game, there's a little bit too much going on. I think that it's too prone to catastrophe for me. Like, you know, next thing you know, like this, like we're losing people because we don't have power. And if you don't, you know, if you don't keep monitoring things, like, okay, how are we doing on this construction? You know, like, because all of a sudden, like, the construction will stop here and they'll be going, wait a minute, they should be done that by now. And then, you know, like, as we notice this, and the next thing you know, it's like, well, wait a minute, our asphalt's not working. Wait a minute, there's a train blocking everything up. Or, you know what I mean? Like, so things can be going along very well, and then one little thing happens, you know, seemingly, you know, that you wouldn't think would grind your entire economy to a halt, but it happens, you know? So no, I don't tend to AFK overly much. Take uneducated workers as well. Well, we're taking workers. you're saying like on the bus itself, right? So where is, I guess we can, yeah, related vehicles. Ah, I see. Workers without education. Good call. Okay. Yeah, so children with basic education, would they go to the university? Would they need to be on this bus? Really, it would just be for people without a basic education, right? I don't think we need this checked over here in the school, but I don't. But whatever, we'll check it. Does that make sense? Yeah, I think that makes more sense. Like, why would we? We wouldn't. We would just want people that don't have a school education. Yeah, professors. Professors are a bit of an issue here. Now, are we assigned to do footpaths? No. Do the footpaths too, please. Now, did it get them? Yes. Good. Yeah, quite a few roads. The problem is, are you doing like stupid roads like this? No, that's suspended. Suspended. Yeah, we did this little stupid road here, but that's okay. And then once this gets attached, yeah, I think it's just these roads here that I was building, which is good because we need them to get to our substation. Good. All right, are we ready to sign more out here yet? Awful close. Yeah, and see, this is what I mean. Like when you have the bigger roads, as long as the road's long enough, we can keep working on this and not need workers. And then the only issue becomes it just takes a long time to drive the materials the further that you get, right? So at some point, you know, theoretically it makes sense to haul the stuff. But then when you think about it, if you're going to haul it with trucks, is it really any different than, you know, if you got to haul it all the way up there with a truck, I don't know how much difference it makes if you just, I mean, other than if you add more trucks to, like if you have depots, then you're adding more trucks to the route, right? Like in other words, we could still keep these 4 guys going, but yeah. So you're doing this one. Oh, most excellent. Okay. All right. So it looks like he's going to kind of keep working on it on his own accord. Good. Now how about you over here? Oh, we're done this one. Now you're not going to keep working on this, but this will slow this down on it. That's all right. Let's get we need to get our population happy and stable, but we will sign this nonetheless. Good. All right. So we're making progress. How are we doing? Now, what are you guys doing? Not much of anything. Is there anything that you could do? I mean, you could work right here. You know what? Go help out with this one. Oh, you know what? There you go. See, look. This one, it's not big enough to have a mechanism, so they didn't work on it. Which is fine. These guys have a bus. They'll go down and work on it. Then we can work on this bus stop. Yeah, even though I was wrong, not in a sense wrong about building the bus stop. Yeah, you know what? We're really having... You can reach the school, can't you? Let's slow this down a little bit. Let's close this. Now you can reach the school and you can reach the university? No, you can't reach the university. You know, a lot of these don't need a mechanism, so it might be better off assigning. These guys might not be working on these things because they don't have you don't need a mechanism, you need people. And then I don't want to give these guys a bus. I just want them to focus on roads and bringing materials to places, because otherwise they use up your workers on roads where you don't need them. Right? So there we go. So assigning this guy to those things is not going to be a bad thing. We should be able to get them done pretty quickly. Um, I I don't remember that observation, Dennis, that they go to work anyway, but I will personally look more. I mean, like as a matter of fact, I remember seeing the opposite. Like in other words, like when you're it's hard to see here, when your uneducated goes up, so do your unemployed workers. Now, on this map, it's really hard, but it's definitely a question I'm willing to look at more. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I remember seeing the opposite. Now, again, they've changed the game, but I think that's the whole mechanism to force you to do the uneducated workers, right? Like, so you're saying that, like, if we were to come to here and look, well, if we were to come to here, we would see uneducated workers here, right? And I don't see any at this point, but there's only 3 of them in there, which isn't much of a test, is it? Like seeing the staff here of the hospital, none of them are uneducated. It's a little hard to see. I know I'm going kind of quick, but I'm just trying my best to see the. None of them are uneducated workers in the hospital staff. Now, I'm not talking about the doctors, of course. But anyway, get these roads done, and then what I'm hoping to do, there's no reason this guy shouldn't be able to get to the university. So what we need to do, let's get another, now I think about it. Because what I want to do is I want to put all the educated teachers in here, right? Can you, yeah, we'll worry about that. So yeah, let's even go up here just for the sake of it. See, none of these people are uneducated. I don't honestly. Yeah, none of them are uneducated. I mean, they may only be educated like 1.0, but they're all at least 1.0 or higher. So now I don't think the uneducated go anywhere. I think you absolutely have to have a school, and then ultimately you have to either buy in your educated, highly educated people, the ones that are above 2.0, or you have to have a university, which you're really, really better off with the university, right? At that point, just because. So. All right, how are we doing? Did we get our road? Are we getting the next one worked on? Yeah, look, they're doing a pretty good job of getting out there. That's because they couldn't work on all those footpaths. But they can bring materials to the footpath. So you guys are done this, and you're... Okay, you're just sort of taking your grand old time, which is okay. Now, we have that jam up happening again? No, good. All right, so once we get that road built, we can go up there. Can we get... Yeah, what's going on here? Okay, this is another one of these that's probably too small. This, just going to demolish that because we don't need that for now. We can always reattach it if we want it later. And this is probably going to be too small for him to work on. Oh, I see what you... Yeah, the time delay is I think I could do it with less of a time delay, but then the problem is you're not guaranteed a good stream. Like, in other words, it's like it buffers so that you guys don't have to worry about the buffering on your end, in a sense, right? Like, because I'm so far ahead, if there's a little bit of a problem with my upload, then like the buffering works out to be more smooth in the long run, if that makes sense. Like, because it's no buffering on my end. Like, you may have issues with your internet, but at least everyone doesn't have issues with the internet because my internet's slow, right? Like, there's enough time to buffer it. And I think that it also leads to a higher quality video. And to be honest, like when I look at the numbers of people that watch, more people will watch this after the fact than watch it live. So now I'm hoping I can cut out that whole big section for those people. There's almost a whole hour that I was down. When I went to go reset my one clock, like the one clock comes back to the last time, it was like it said 2:46, and I ended up making it 3:40, and then that was while the computers were turning back on. Just that clock's close to me, so I moved it up. So it was down for 54 minutes or something in that ballpark. Yeah, your one message seems to have gotten cut off there, the Fox Gaming. When will I end the main series? Well, either when the map breaks, that was always, when you started, like way back when, now we're talking about like 4 months ago when I started it, um, they, I fully intended some glitch to like make the map unplayable. Like if I were to lose the ability to move forward for some reason or to reopen the map or, without, obviously I can redo certain things, but they really haven't broke the heck out of the game. Like that's what I was, where you play a game and it's all of a sudden like saves are no longer compatible type thing. But they've done a really good job of not that. But really, if you've seen my overall grand design with the extra better industries that are on the other side of the river or the other side of the hill from Neuve Revergrad, like you'll see once in a while I point at new prefab panels here and new bricks over here and more power plants over here. When I get that done, I don't think I would take it past that, to answer your question. Like, and to me, what that is becoming fully self-sufficient. You really kind of need to jam things in, right? Like, in order for us to get fully self-sufficient, we may throw a bricks thing here, and that's going to be less than ideal, right? Just, we got a bricks thing here. It doesn't have quite enough coal because it's sharing it with a jammed in, cement plant. Like, and you don't really quite have enough gravel from your gravel thing. So, to me, once you get to this point where you've got 4 steel mills and 3 brick factories and, so that's sort of where I want to get to. Like, get each of the main industries, to be respectable, not something that I just jammed in to survive on hard mode in the beginning. And that's what that plan represents if you've seen me do the overall picture of it. So, all right, how are we doing on this road? Now, how are we doing on our footpaths? Well, we got some of them done. Good. Well, you do because they go. Okay, I see what you're saying. You're saying that they wouldn't go to work. They just sit around the house for 3 years or however many years once they get up to 1.0, not getting any more education. I see what you're saying. I got you now. That, yeah, and darn the delay. Yeah, but now I understand what you're saying. And yes, absolutely, I could agree with that. Now, what are the ages? Yeah, so you're saying that people who are 18 don't go off to work if they don't go to the university. Yeah, that's, certainly probably true in the modern era, isn't it? Yeah, so in other words, you won't see any plus 21-year-olds in the university is effectively what you're saying. And then you won't see anybody younger than 21 in an industry. Age 71, 21 was the youngest. Yeah, so you won't see any 18-year-olds over here working, right? Or 19 or whatever it is. 24, 30, 24, yeah. Yeah, okay, well, that's good to know, actually. That's very good to know. Thank you, Dennis. You were absolutely, I could, now that I understand what you're saying, It was my fault for not understanding it. Now that I read back into it, yes, you are correct. Yeah. Good. We got some people over here. I really want to get this power over to these people. Good. We got these roads done. I also really want to get this footpath going. Probably should just leave that open for a minute. But now let's just take a look. Can these people? No, they still can't get to the university. Really? You would think they could. I guess they don't really have a good footpath anywhere on this side of their building, do they? Speaking of which, I guess it wouldn't really hurt. Has a little bit of a lower priority. You know, that's not going to hurt anybody's feelings, is it? Yeah, you can definitely footpath the heck out of things. All right, so we probably canceled that work. And then we also probably made it that much longer to get that completed, which was not overly wise, but there we go. That got done. So let's get this assigned ASAP, which means let's make sure that they're only working on those two. I'm going to leave this guy open. Let's just tuck him off in the corner since he's... Yeah, and this guy will work on footpaths as far as dragging gravel down there, which is fine with me. All right, how's he doing? Good. He's still working on that road. Yeah, a little slow. How is our gravel production doing? We're doing great. We're doing just wonderful. Maybe even too well. Yeah, we could even consider... Yeah, we're having issues getting people there, but not to the gravel. Let's just turn this down to like 10. Right? Yeah, now are we losing people from the other... We shouldn't be losing escapees from there or here. And eventually, I don't know... You know, we do have professors, and we should be educating people. So, I mean, we shouldn't really, we should be getting more educated, right? But we definitely, and I don't know if these people are, the number's definitely going down here, and I don't blame them. I had an issue with power, right? I don't know if I'd want to live in this house if it never had power, I mean, if it was a possibility to get power here, I would probably, move. Someplace I'd move to any place I think that had power at that point. So yeah, we'll get this guy switched around, and then, I really do have other things planned this evening too, so I don't want to jam up my schedule. I can go a little bit longer. To make up for the time, but I do have a plan this evening. A friend of mine, fortunately it is such a beautiful day, but he decided to redo his thermostat in his house, but then he didn't, something's wrong with the wiring. Like we went to try to hook it up, and it won't, like he has enough wires. It's just like a little phone wire kind of thing, but something's wrong with the wire. Like you don't get the right voltage on the other end of it. But it's got like some connection thing somebody did. So we were going to go over there this evening and run a new thermostat wire all the way down to the heater kind of thing. So and the air conditioner. But again, like I said, it's such a beautiful day out there. Unless you like it cool, you really don't even need the air on today that much. And they have a pool. The kids will survive it. How filled is the main map? I think the last time I remember looking, we have about 25,000 people on the main map. By main map, I'm assuming you mean like the regular series there. Yeah, so 25. Good, they're working on this one. 25,000. So we're getting there. And you know, Nueve Revergrad will get built up on the regular map before I quit. But that'll kind of all come in. Things will pick up once that steel gets going. And that's, you guys will see. I got a little bit ahead of the episodes. So I actually got like Monday's done. And I think by the time, if you guys watch Monday's episode, you'll see the steel is really coming together by then. I think, I'm sure there's stuff I missed and fine tuning that we have to do, but like you can really see how, okay, it's just a matter of a bit more construction, and then we'll be able to fire up at least some of those, you know, half of the steel mills, two of the four. And then once that happens, watch out, right? Because then we're going to have plenty. That steel is literally, and if I make too much steel, great, I'll export the stuff and make a ton of money. So money won't be an issue. We'll have plenty of steel, you know, and not have to sit there and slow down construction for it constantly. I'm not sure I understand what you mean, just a ping weight of the heating system. Yeah, well, I don't know if it's more fun. It's, you know, it's helpful to a friend. I'm pretty good with control wiring and stuff like that. I worked as a maintenance mechanic in a factory, and one of the aspects of that was to actually troubleshoot the electrical system. So it's just something I can't talk him through on the phone, though I did kind of try, right? Like he's a pretty smart guy, but he's just not getting it, right? Like he's just not putting two and two together to get to 6. You know, if I tell him 2 and 2 equals 4, he says okay, and then, you know, and then I explain like the next step plus 2, he goes, I don't understand. You have to come over. So it's, look, just draw yourself a picture of what you have. You're just replacing the wire that's there, you know. But there's I think what's confusing them is that there's the way they wired this thing is it doesn't all come down to a central control point. It goes directly to the heater with just one wire. Like the way they did the control loop is a little bit goofy. Anyway, whatever. It's getting a little bit too off the subject. But yeah, so we'll go a little bit after 5 o'clock here. We'll get to a nice stopping point. Let's get these people some power, and I wouldn't even mind. Yeah, we're still paving this. Maybe we'll get to the point where this construction office is built so that next time, yeah, why don't we make that our goal, right? That'll probably be an extra half hour or so. But we'll get this paved. We'll try to get at least these worked on, if not completed. I don't want to turn the promise into one of those 7.5 hour stream things like I did the last time. So how are we doing over here? We're zigging, zagging back and forth as fast as we can. Oh, we're on slow mode. Get on fast mode. There you go. That'll help a little bit. And then we'll get this power line designed once we get that done. But yeah, that should take us an extra half hour, I would think. Maybe 45 minutes. We'll see. Now that I got it in fast mode, that's not going to hurt either, is it? There we go. All right. Yeah, they should be able to get to the university. So here's what I'd like to do. These guys are sent to go to the bus platform. Let's just confirm. No, they can still not get to the university? Or can they? Oh, you know what? Yeah, they can. They're going in the side door. I see. Okay, good. Okay, good. They can get to the university. So what I'd like to do, and I always like to pause time when I do this, just so that people don't. I want to take all the educated people and put them in this house. And then I want to assign this house to the schools. And then eventually, if we ever built that other thing, so hopefully we'll keep, you know, we'll just, yeah, I guess we should assign a couple. But this way we can control it, right? Like, we won't end up with too many doctors necessarily. All right, so we want you not to go there. I want you to send your people to here, here, and here. And at this point, you only have 17 of them, but I think the most should go to the school, right? And the least, yeah, over 50% to the school, 30% to the technical university, 13% to there. So let's see. And you do have power, right? We're not sending you to some place, some hellhole of medieval living. Yeah, see, we keep losing people out of here. We really need this substation to get done. But there we go. So now that, I hope, will better control that. And hopefully, yeah, we already have 2 professors. Do I hear 3? No, that's going to be about it. Now we could go around the map. There we go. We got 3. Good. That should keep people. Yeah, we don't have any doctors. You know what? I'm kind of okay with that, to be honest. Like if anything suffers, I want it to be the hospital at this point, because the more of these guys we can get going, the better off we'll be. Okay, we got a substation. All right, I want to pause again for the sake of electricity, because I want to come in here and we're going to delete some wires, right? So we're going to delete this wire, and I want to delete this wire, and I'm going to take, you know, we got more money. We don't need to run those little stinking wires there. Yeah, so we need to do something like this, right? And, yeah, okay, I can't auto purchase. Now this is, I think, just these little silly poles, right? Yeah. So what I can't do is, you know, if I commit to that, I didn't really want to commit to this whole thing. Well, I guess I don't really have a choice. Oh no, that's big power wires. What am I saying? Never mind. Sorry. All right, so now, yeah, I could have done this far easier. Sorry. Yeah, pay for it with rubles. Pay for it with rubles. You have power. You don't. Goodbye. That was a big explosion. A big black spot on the ground. All right, so do you have power now? Yay! All right, well, that was a little bit costly, but I think the difference there is significant if it comes to trying to get some more houses, which I definitely wanted to do, right? Even if it meant moving some of these power lines, I'd like to get, you know, get a few more people over here as needed. So hopefully we got 88 in there. Let's go hoovering up some more people. How's that sound? Because that's just so fun and exciting. I enjoy clicking on these houses endlessly. I'm lying, if you guys didn't notice. Now, I had a change of heart about deleting all these houses. You know, this town doesn't have any little houses, does it? I'm just going to grab everybody out of here. I think we're in. Yeah, we don't have that many more. And they're all big houses, so. Yeah, that'll get us some more educated over here as well, right? Where are we at? We're over here. I don't know if it matters where we put them in. Does it? No. No, that's really not the button I wanted to click. Let's try this again. How many are in here? That house is kind of full. Yeah, let's put them in here. It's not exciting. I'm sure it's just as exciting for you guys to watch this as it is for me to do it. I mean, it sends goosebumps up and down my arms, you know? Sheer exhilaration. It's amazing my heart is taking it. There we go. All right, so how many? We ended up with 13 educated. Good. So you guys can all go over to here. We did put an educated in here too, didn't we? All right, so now you guys, you know what? I want you to go to this bus stop because most people are working there. Yeah, and you know what? You can go to that bus stop as well because these guys, yeah, can go anywhere. So they should work anywhere else in town. And you don't really need that many people. So now, good. We doubled the number of people in that house with that. So let's hope we have enough. What is the overall population of the world? Yeah, we're down to 1,800. We haven't had any escapes in the last 19 days. How about last month? 2. That's not so bad. Now, the problem is, are we dying? No, we're not really even. Let's do this year. Yeah, we're in June. That's long enough. Yeah, we're dying a little bit faster than otherwise. So let's see. How are we doing? Yeah, good. Look, 5 professors. Good. We have to be getting more educated people this way, right? Yep. And you're right. Absolutely. Not that I was doubting it, but yeah, they're all 17 or 16 or whatever. Perfect. I see what you mean. We don't lose productivity. Well, that's good to know. I'm very glad I learned that. Hey, Mattis. How are you doing? Yeah, I think I do use escape sometimes. The problem is I've gotten out of the habit because not so much when I'm in game and I'm recording, but like I like to open up these construction offices and leave them open. And when I hit escape a lot, I tend to accidentally close them, right? Like, so what I'll do is just open things that I want to keep an eye on. I do it sometimes when I'm recording, but you know what I mean? Like I want to keep an eye on our 3 different construction offices and make sure they stay busy. And then what happens is that I end up closing things I didn't intend to. The other thing is this map's not so big. You know, the other thing I like to do with it is go check on this area. So like, for example, when I'm on the main map where things are a lot further apart, you know, this might be where the new car manufacturing is going to be. But I come in here, check on things, and then, you know, like open this one, zap back over here, check on things in this region. And, you know, when you hit escape, boy, you just closed it. Which is, you know, this was just an example. Like, because sometimes it doesn't, I mean, it usually closes what I expect it to, but it gets me out of the habit of hitting escape for that reason. So anyway, as a matter of fact, you are working on a road. I'm happy about that. And this guy's not working on anything. So you should work on this bus stop. And you should probably also work on those footpaths. Are there any other footpaths you can do? No. Maybe that one. It's sort of a bit of an extra, isn't it? And eventually, well, you know, you could work on that and that as well. All right, this guy looked like he was he done? He's almost done paving, good. And he's well on his way to paving. Yeah, so we are making some progress here. The Fox Gaming, the issue that I would have with starting it too much earlier is that you're getting like way earlier here, right? So I'm trying to make it as much of what I would call an evening or a late afternoon thing. In addition, at this point, let's put it this way: if enough people, I think you're probably a little bit further to the east than the average viewer. But I think for the people in Britain, this is kind of a nice time, right? 7 o'clock or somewhere in that ballpark. Um, you know what I mean? So if I start going too earlier, it becomes too early for people here in the United States potentially. Because remember, you're talking about 11 a.m. or something like that for people in California time, which may not be so bad for them, right? But yeah, if enough people say something, I will definitely consider it. How's that sound? The time also works out pretty well for me because it lets me get some lunch in me. I get some stuff done on Saturday morning, whatever that happens to be, and then I can eat lunch, and then I can come and do this, and it doesn't, so maybe doing it an hour earlier could kind of work, type thing. Yeah, and Mattis, by the time I click on the dialogue, that I might as well just, at that point, it's not that different than clicking on the X and closing the dialogue. But, have at it when you play. I'm not trying to be mean about it. It just, yeah, I don't always hit the escape, and I'm sorry if you don't like the way I close the screens. I'm not going to change that, I guess is what I'm saying. It's not that big a deal either way, I don't think. And it's just subconscious for me, so I enjoy it the way I'm doing it. If anybody else agrees with Mattis when I'm closing the screens wrong, I'm sorry. We also have this we could work on, right? Because we're not really prioritizing. Oh, look, he built that bus stop in record time, didn't he? Good. So I don't know what we're going to do with it this moment. We seem to have... Yeah, good. We got plenty of students. We got some more teachers. What is the overall count of the educated? Yeah, see, I think this is too early in the United States as it is for a Saturday. Just, it would probably be even worse during the week, right? Because everybody's still at work. And I just, I think I was saying it earlier, for me, Saturday afternoons is to get stuff done around the house time for a lot of people, right? It's, if I wasn't doing this in America, I would almost certainly be out in the yard or, I don't know, going shopping, whatever it was on a Saturday afternoon. I wouldn't be, it's not like a big video game playing time for me, right? I mean, it is because I'm doing this, but when you Nanad saying at 7, yeah, man, it's all good. I don't mean to be, I really don't mean to be mean, but yeah. Well, let's say whatever you guys think about the time. I'm a bit flexible there, but I want to be fair to everybody everywhere. Good, man. So I'm glad you didn't take that the wrong way, and I do appreciate the advice. If it isn't a bad suggestion, and I will work on the suggestion portion of it. Sometimes I think I'm just a normal human being where somebody makes a suggestion to you and you go, I don't want to do it that way. I do it my way. But then when push comes to shove, you think about it later on and go, boy, that wasn't a bad suggestion that person had. Maybe I should try it that way, right? Oh, good. Look, our trucks are already using they're already using the new cut through. Nice. Yeah, see, I think for Western Europe, it's actually the perfect time. I wish there was, but there's just no way I could do the perfect time for everybody across the globe, right? And by the way, I think that's it's one of the reasons I think that the live stream tends to have more Europeans than it does Americans, right? Because if you look at from what I can tell, there's definitely more Americans watch the regular series, and then keep this in mind too. If I get, let's say, views, and I don't know how this equates to who watched, because I don't know if you guys come in 3 times. Does it count you as 3 views if you watch this long 3 hour thing over days? Like I don't know if that's 3 views, but anyway, whatever the case is, like I end up with like 200 views where it's only like 60 or 80 people are reported as views right after the stream ends, say. So it's the point's not the numbers, it's just like it's like 3 times as many people or twice as many people more are watching it after the fact. So and I'm one I kind of like YouTube gives you enough information to be curious about wanting more information. Good, we can get this road assigned. Like they don't quite give you, which is fair because it's not. I really wouldn't want YouTubers knowing all my personal information, right? Would you? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like I don't want to. I don't want them to be able to investigate everything about me in order to make their YouTube channel better. In other words, so you know what we could do? We could probably increase this just in case. Increase it to whatever it can be. And probably make him pick the next road. So yeah, anyway, it's... Yeah, well, I know, yeah, for Fox Gaming, I understand, it's getting late, you know. And I know 9 p.m. for some people isn't late, but if you're like me, I'm an early bird, you know, I don't have to go to bed at 10 o'clock, but by 10 or 11 or 12, I'm ready for bed, you know. But I'm also likely to be up at 4 or 5 or 6 in the morning, drinking my coffee, recording a game, you know. I like that time of day better. It's nice and quiet. Nobody bothers you. So yeah, it's to each his own. So yeah, I'm sorry about that, the Fox Gaming. It sounds like you're a bit outvoted at this moment. And just my own inclination on the whole subject is similar to that. So, all right. Well, anyway, how are we doing? Are we getting... I don't know. I think we have an extra person or 3 in here, don't we? Well, I added a few, so I forget how... I didn't add many, though, so... But they're good. Their happiness, look, it just inked up a little tiny bit more, another %. So, yeah, I think we got them power. They shouldn't be escaping... We got 27 educated. We should kind of be able to tell the educated because we should start getting them in the other buildings, right? Yeah, I'm not seeing any right now. Well, we got 1 here. Get over here and get to work with the rest of them. Yeah, so how are we doing? 4 professors. 2 professors, sorry. 4 students. Yeah, we need more... How are we doing? Another thing to look at is just how far along your plus 20. There we go. We got 4 more. Yeah. So eventually, when it first starts out, it's sort of like it gains its own momentum here, right? Because you start getting more 16-year-olds and 15-year-olds educated. Because like this 21-year-old, wherever he was, 20-year-old. Will he even get educated, or are you just wasting your time on him, right? It's hard to keep track of them because they keep switching on me. But does that make sense? Like, so if somebody doesn't get into the university until they're 20 and they don't get up to 2.0, do they just go out to the workforce as an overeducated average worker, right? So you need to really be getting like 15-year-olds in here, like the first class in a sense, right? And then once that first class graduates, then you're in better shape, I think. Thanks, Nanad. Yeah, well, thank you, Fox Gaming, and definitely, you know, I guess unfortunately, you know, if it's getting late, you might just have to catch the end of the stream. You know, it always goes up pretty quickly afterwards, and like I said, I'm going to see if I can't, without destroying it. I want to at least give you guys a time so you know what happened. Like I'm pretty sure I can put a message in there for anybody who's watching the stream and rerun, you know, so that they know that I am coming back at a certain point here. And yeah, it's unfortunate the power went out on us, but what can you do? Life in the big city, as they say, right? Not that I live in the big city, but life in a small town is losing your power once in a while. Yeah, the 20-year, yeah, the Democratic Republic of Louisiana. Yeah, Louisiana. I've been to Louisiana. It's hot down there during the summer. That's when I was down there. Yeah, they do get their share of like they're right like the hottest city I've probably talked about it in the United States for just being muggy, miserable in my opinion is Houston, Texas. It's not the hottest. Like you'll see higher temperatures in like Las Vegas and other desert cities or even in other parts of Texas you see hotter, but at the same time it's just god awful humid and hot and just horrible. But Louisiana's like I never really spent much time in Louisiana to make the same judgment, but Louisiana seems to be right in the same ballpark, more or less, as Houston. So if you don't like the hot and humid, you probably don't want to move to Louisiana. How are we doing? Did we get this done? Good. Are we working on this one? Yes. Construction office auto assigned it. Yeah, now the question is, do we want to... What are we doing? Yeah, you know what? So the question we had here, this will be a question for next week because we're not going to get that far anyway. But as we get these sections paved, when we get up to about here, we need to consider whether we want to build another construction office. This is just looking at what's on the other side of the river because we could build a construction office over here, even though it's... Right, do we build another construction office where I can get this road up this hill? Right? Or do we go around the hill? I mean, around the hill makes a lot of sense, but so does... Well, we could do both, right? We could build this for the time being and then down the road, but it sort of depends on where our big plan is. So think about what you guys would like to see, not so much for next week, but maybe even the week after that. And I'll probably give this a new title. If you noticed, I put question mark after that. Okay, good. We just need the roller to get up here. Is he on his way? Yeah, so think about where we go from after steel, right? And agriculture. We're going to hit maybe both of those up semi-simultaneously. I think I'll put a little bit... That's the other thing I've learned. If you design enough stuff, then you end up not being able to construct everything. We're doing pretty darn well on our money, though, aren't we? So, but that'll change. Like, one of the reasons we're doing so well on our money is because we're just paving stuff. Like this whole episode... And I know we got a big time chunk out of it. And I'm on as fast as we can make it go, right? Has been fixing a few issues in our town. But we have proved that a little bit. But the biggest thing is just getting these darn roads built up here, But that's nice. We'll have a nice paved asphalt road up there. So that is biting the bullet a little bit to get it all paved. This really, when it comes to this, we'll just do a gravel road into here. There's really almost no benefit to a short paved road, like, other than it looks nicer. Yeah, so let's get all ready to go here. So we'll just do gravel roads into here for the sake of speed. Yeah, and you know what? I think I can make this one node. Let's get this guy to attack. Look, he's going backwards. Hey, buddy, turn around. Go the other way properly. I never noticed them going backwards. Maybe they do. I guess can't say I really stared at them either in all this time. I'm laughing about the comments. You won't make that? Really? No, come on, you can do it. Do we gotta go like the extreme? No, that's as far down as I can go. So will you... Okay, there we go. Good. All right, so now we got to get down here. This shouldn't take long at all. As a matter of fact, we'll do both of these guys, right? Yeah, this guy's still assigned to a bunch of footpaths. I'm not sure. Then we'll get this guy as well. All right, where's Mattis? Ready, Mattis? There you go. And I know what you're talking about, too. When I get a lot of those screens open, yeah, I know what you mean. Especially, yeah, one of the most frustrating thing is, like, if you wanted to try to cancel all these footpaths. Yeah, so let's go see, like, if you do this number, and they all keep popping open, you know? Yeah, see, and notice how it closed the thing first. It didn't close these screen, like, so if you were like going around working on all the stuff, it closed my construction office before it closed like the little footpaths things. And so we'll get this guy to work on some of those footpaths. Yeah, you can't reach that one. There's quite a few. I wouldn't have thought there would have been, yeah, this one. You know what? Let's just get rid of that. Yeah, see, this is just a matter. That other one will take materials. They just won't bring people, so it shouldn't delay too much to get those footpaths completed. How are we doing? Consistently 3. That's fine, right? We're gonna, if we can get 3 to 5 in here. Really like to see, even be nice before we end this. And again, I don't want to go too much longer, but a lot of the reason for, well, 2 reasons for me quitting at 5. One is again, I'm an earlier bird, right? So I tend to get up earlier. I tend to eat breakfast a little earlier. I tend to eat lunch a little earlier. So by 5 o'clock, even though I know that's early for some people, I start getting hungry. And then the other side of it is, usually I've been talking at this point for 3.5 hours, right? And that just gets to be a lot, you know. So I'd really like to see an educated person. Oh, there we go. Look, we got another educated person from down here. So there's just no doubt. Oh, you know what? I didn't even look in here before. Yeah, look, we got another one in here. Though I don't remember ever taking them out of here. So I'm just going to keep, whenever we check on people, hopefully I'll remember to just keep putting them in this house just for the sake of, that way they'll get divided up just where they need to go and they don't end up trying to go off to work digging ditches. That's probably the biggest question. Maybe Dennis, you might know, that I have about the educated is, do they tend to prefer to go to the educated jobs, right? So if you have these people unassigned, will they like go here first, or do they go to the bus stop, right? Like, and I haven't really looked into it, but I'm curious about it, because I tend to always do this, assigning them like this, like put all my educated in one house. It's also easy to keep track of them at that point too, but at the same time, it's like, is that really necessary, or can I just put them in any house and they will like prioritize going to teach at the school? Good. This is a good sign. Look, we do have, look at that one uneducated person in there. So what just burnt down? Oh, extinguished. Okay. What was it? Yeah, we don't want to lose our construction office. How is our firehouse doing? Okay. Yeah, as we get further away, we're going to take a chance here, aren't we? Okay, good. Look, we're done that one road. Let's get up here. Yep, that'll just, well, you know what? Really, both of you can, for the sake of speed, right? Let's get them both working on this, even though the one doesn't have any employees. All right, let me read the comment because I saw... Mattis, I just read your comment. It's all good. Yeah, you know, some games you get into habits. That's the other. I'm a creature of habit. There's no doubt. You know, and some of the things I do, I know this is probably where I appreciate your guys' comments the most. Not that I don't, like I've always said, I always appreciate the comments, and whatever feedback I get from you guys. Like, and but I really appreciate the fact that I've been doing things like when I first started out the game, and they tend to make improvements to the way things work, and I just am unused to it. Like, like you learn the way that works and then you do it that way. Like, it's not like I'm going to sit there constantly experimenting with whatever building it is. But when you're first learning it, well, you're just trying to figure out how it works, right? Like, well, I think I already know how the hospital works. So if they change the mechanic of the hospital on me, then that'll be a problem, right? Because I'll just go on assuming it was always the way it was, right? So I don't see a whole lot of people. Can you guys get to the... Oh, no, I couldn't assign you if you can't get to the hospital. There we go, 2 doctors, good. I see those people are like, oh, a little 9-year-old girl is hurt, and 12-year-old. That looks, I guess that's what is it? Do we have a gender? No, they don't really have a gender, do they? But I'm assuming, from what I know of Eastern European languages, like an is usually a woman's name, right? Like Fukina, that's a hell of a name, would be a female, where your monolovo, or whatever that is, would tend to be a guy, right? If it ends with an O. Am I right about that? At least that's the impression I get. Just like with, other languages have similar stuff. English doesn't. I don't think... English just is like a non-gendered language. Like, it doesn't have, like, the French or German, der, die, and das kind of, masculine, feminine, neutral. Yeah, well, now knowing what you told me, Dennis, honestly, I'm a little more inclined to plop in some universities, knowing that it doesn't affect the overall, like, lifetime productivity of people. It's not to say it's not free, right? Because you do need to have professors and staff, and you theoretically would have less employees, though I'm not sure that difference is significant to me. But you are paying people or feeding people that have to go work at your extra building of the university, but I don't consider that a big enough expense to worry about. And I think I think you're going to see an Energinisk on the regular map. I think you're going to see a university there. I think you may see I got a lot of small towns on that map. I'm not sure how worth a university is in every place, but it will be good to see. It's good to know that. Just no doubt. That'll change my philosophy on it. There we go. Look at that. That's what you want to see. Asphalt trucks all lined up in a row. That's where I got 4 of them. And then the problem is, as we get further and further away, but this 4 of them will let these guys pave a pretty good distance. And the fact that I didn't steal, if you remember earlier in the stream, the fact that I didn't steal a bunch of the dumpers and everything out of here means that we're now getting, like, if you look, like we're pretty quickly completing tasks all the way out here. So there's certainly something to be said for throwing more machinery at it if you're going to do everything with a construction office, right? And look, we've made some money, so I'm pretty happy about that. Yeah, let's just even leave this open for a minute while I have a sip of tea and read a comment or two. Okay, Mattis, just so you know, not that it matters too much, but we, like my grandfather, when you come to America, like, and the cities, around, like, the East Coast, there was a lot of Polish people. But I think what also happened was that people here just sort of assumed that everybody who was Slovak or any kind of, language like that was Polish. because my grandfather would always say that he was a Slovak sometimes, but then he would say he was a Polak other times, right? So I don't really know. I never really knew. Now, my dad knows a little bit more about it. He said, no, it was like Czechoslovakia, but near the Polish border or something along those lines. Which Czechoslovakia is, I guess you're always near a border of somebody, right? With the shape the way that was. So yeah, so I don't know where Saltus comes in, but that's a different question. All right, so how are we doing here? We are we are getting 50% done this one, and we're going to need another fuel cistern. So we probably should just, how are we doing? I mean, this guy probably hasn't taken many trips, has he? The only question I have is not, do we buy another? I kind of, it annoys me, like the efficiency part of me gets annoyed to just have these guys sitting here all the time, even though I know it doesn't really cost anything extra. So I always want to try to combine these routes, right? But then you worry about like one of these gas stations running out of fuel because it just never really gets used that much there. So I'm sort of picturing, well, I think at this point we just buy another cistern. Yeah, exactly. And I'm not sure of the town, and I don't think anybody knows anymore. I mean, I guess there might be some historical record, but I do know from the ancestry.com that I'm definitely one quarter Eastern European. So maybe that's why I have a fair number of people from Eastern Europe. You guys can pick up on the ancestry of me, right? The rest of it's pretty much British or Irish, which is kind of the same thing, sort of, right? Sort of a mixed bag. Genetically, the British and the Irish just aren't as much different as you would think, though the English are different to some degree, right? Like, so they can, but again, it's such a mixing pot that I mentioned before on other streams. Like, just the way the genes spread is just so, like, it just doesn't take much over 1,000 years to spread genes out all over Europe. So you guys in Europe are all related to Charlemagne, mathematically speaking. So when the Queen of England is all proud that she's a direct descendant of Charlemagne, she's one of millions that's a direct descendant of Charlemagne. It's not like the noble houses didn't fall from grace and then become peasants or middle class or whatever it was, and then they all kind of interbred with each other one way or the other. Maybe they didn't intermarry, but many babies were born. When you hear the bastard William the Bastard, right? Well, he wasn't from a noble birth before he took over England and became William the Conqueror. So anyway, all right, well, we're not focusing on the game. That's my fault. That's because I'm just waiting for this construction office to get done, and then I think we'll wrap it up. We got almost everything we need, and I think I'll pause time and we'll say goodbye, but we'll be ready, right? We'll be paving this, so I'll have to decide, do we build another construction office over here? We will be over here, and we will what do you call it? We will come in here and decide on whether we build a town here or what we do, but we'll get this construction office done so we can start actually doing the planning in the beginning of next time. And then as far as over here, yeah, my opinion is that we just sort of hold off on doing the piping and the extra tanks until we get the steel mill going, right? Because then all of that becomes far cheaper. Once you get the steel mill going, you can talk about mechanical components, but first I think you have to research that, right? So yeah, we could start talking about, once we get our educated people up, we could start talking about, doing some research here, getting our chemistry, getting our engineering. That'll be nice. How are we doing on educated? And then I want to take a quick, yep, 5. See, yeah, see, we're starting to pick up some momentum on the educated folks. None. Well, okay, we had 5 there. Maybe they just wanted to live closer to work, and I yanked them and put them back into here, right? There we go. Yeah, now how are we doing on... Yeah, see this... If anything, we have one more person in here, so I have a feeling... Yeah, I don't really remember every number. And again, I'm kind of yanking people out of here, but I'm getting the impression that our population's not going down. One last thing to look at. How are we doing? Yeah, we need more workers here, don't we? Yeah, and I don't really have these trucks waiting. And that's one of the reasons for doing this the extra tank. And eventually from this extra tank, we would have, like, you know, probably a pump that would bring the trucks to a loading area. Let's head over here real quick. There we are. All right, it's official. Let's pause it, and then we can talk about what we do. And this is where I always end up with a lot of extra bulldozers at some point in the game because I keep buying them so that I can do the leveling. In this case, yeah, I'm thinking maybe we just sneak. Well, we don't really have any bulldozers in. Oh, yeah, we do. We have a bulldozer, but we don't have an excavator. We have both in here. Yeah, I usually end up with extra bulldozers, but anyway, well, there we go, guys. I'm very sorry about the power thing. That was a bummer. You know, we had a good crowd, and most of you made it back, but not everyone did, and that's sort of a shame. But maybe they can catch it in the rerun, right? All right, let me read through some of these comments while we say goodbye. But I'm going to cut it off, you know, fairly shortly here after I catch up with a bunch of comments at the very end. Good. I'm all the way back at Mattis's about the women's names end with an A. Yeah. And by the way, guys, there's the Discord. I think I got straightened out and figured out more about Discord. And I got a permanent link, I think. So let me know if you do want to go over there and chat. That's what we did last week after the stream. A couple of us. I'm going to go eat dinner now, but, you know, like I may join up later on depending on what's going on. And, yeah, there's that. So if you guys want to keep... I see you got a big conversation going. You're more than welcome when the stream ends to go over there and chat, and or there's a voice channel too if you wanted to go that route. Yeah, the darn percent out of the train, it's the percent of the total count, which is there was a comment going back and forth this week because I did some train things with the trying to get employees to the new coal area. And, you know, like if you told me to let 50% of the passengers off of my bus, I would, and there was 10 of them, I would let 5 people off. If the bus held 20, I wouldn't let 10 people off, right? So even though I understand what they're doing, it's just the wording of it is confusing to me as an English speaker. Maybe that makes more sense in another language. I don't really know. I think the programmers they're Slovak or something like that, right? But I don't know. Like, in other words, when you tell me let 50% off, I'm going to assume it's the count of people actually on the train or bus at that moment. So... And the nod, yeah, mathematics is a great thing to learn. You don't need to learn all of it, but it's certainly never going to hurt you to know more stuff in life. And I think, you know, I think the people that don't know mathematics hurt themselves it's almost like not knowing how to read, right? I think knowing how to read is more important, but like you might have somebody who says, "Oh, I don't need to learn how to read. I, dig ditches for a living." Yeah, well, but your life is more limited, and you're digging ditches probably because you don't know how to read. Like, trust me, if you are really good at math, you will get a job with someone. There is always some business somewhere that wants somebody to add up beans or whatever they're adding up, right? So yeah, stay with the math if you have any aptitude at all for it, and even if you don't, learn enough of it. You know, it's not that hard, and most people can get it with some effort. Backing up your truck plan. Yes, next Saturday, same time. Assuming I have power, I will. I will. There's no issues next week, as far as I know. No family vacation type things. Yes, thanks, Shunter. Very good to see you. Pietro, you're back. Yeah, you're lucky that we're even on. If I didn't have a big power catastrophe, I wouldn't even still be here. But hello and goodbye. How's that sound? Ah, ribs on the barbecue. Yeah, you know what? The ribs were buy one, get one free. I probably should have bought some. But the problem with, I'm single. So it's like, two racks of ribs. I know I could have probably frozen some of them, but I think they might have even been frozen. But yeah, I did look at the ribs, but I just sort of went on by. But they rearranged my entire supermarket. I'm not real happy about it. Like, I don't know why they do. They seem to need to do it every 5 or 6 years. They just rearrange the entire store, so I don't know where three-quarters of the stuff is. But anyway, so I was more upset about that than worried about buy one, get one free ribs, I suppose, at the time. Yeah, percent is confusing. Yeah, Pietro, I'm not sure when I would get over to the other channel. Yeah, by the way, guys, I put an inappropriate channel in there in the Discord. If you are, if you are easily offended, then don't go to the inappropriate channel. If you guys are going to discuss things that you think maybe, you wouldn't talk about in church almost. I'm not expecting church conversation, but you know what I'm saying? Like, if you wouldn't, and I'm not, for some people, this doesn't, if you wouldn't talk that way in front of your mom, or at least I wouldn't only talk a certain way, go to the inappropriate channel. That's like no moms allowed chat place, right? And even there, like, let's keep it somewhat civil. Let's not be mean to people for no reason. It's not the be mean to people channel. It's just if you want to have adult topics, go there, and that way, if you don't want to have an adult discussion, just stay in the other channel. I'm hoping that will work, but I don't really care what you guys talk about as long as nobody gets offended, and I'm not very easily offended, so don't worry about me either way. There's not much you could say to me that would upset me that much. Yeah, Dennis, I'm learning about the. Yeah, I did notice that they're. But here's the other thing I noticed is it's when they pick the people up that I think they determine that. So I have noticed that, like, if you pick people up on a train, it will only pick up enough people to fill the slots while it's picking them up. If the train takes 6 in-game hour, I don't know, 4 in-game hours to get there, it may only drop off 3 people, even though you have 10 slots, right? Because it only picked up 3, because it seems to calculate ahead how many it's going to drop off. It definitely gets confusing, and it's probably good it does it that way, right? Because then when the next train comes through, it looks on its route and it does the same thing, right? So I think it all kind of works out, but it can be confusing to try to figure out why it's not picking up the right number of people and all that kind of stuff. The Fox Gaming, you're still awake. Go to bed, man. I'm just kidding. But no, you missed. I forget when you left exactly. You missed stuff and things pretty shortly. It doesn't take too long, a couple hours it seems, and then the replay is available to you guys. And like I said, I'm going to go in there and just at least edit a note on it that says, something along the lines of skip ahead till this time, so that And if I can cut it out without damaging the whole thing, I might even try to cut that hour out of there. I'm not sure how well that will go. Yeah, if you want to get too political, again, anything that may offend people. Like, I don't know that politics is inappropriate. I certainly like discussing them, but my politics may not be your politics. And then this isn't a forum for. This is about playing a game, right? Like, this isn't. It, again, if people are getting offended, just be nice. Just be a decent person. It's all like, I mean, I have nothing against talk about politics, and nor should you guys. I think that's the way we develop our ideas, right? Like, we should be able to talk to anybody. You could be conservative, you could be liberal, whatever you have in your own countries. I'm sure it's pretty similar. Like, most people are, I mean, around, especially in Europe, as far as that goes. We should be able to discuss things with each other without people getting so offended, in my opinion. But having said that, people seem to get awful offended by what other people think these days. So. And this is just not the place, for that, in my opinion. Yep, take care, Dennis. See you in a nod. Pietro, Fox Gaming. Yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I'll leave the channel. Yeah, good. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, we could even change the name. I don't know. You're not allowed to be offended channel. But again, you guys can take it too far. I don't appreciate name calling. Like, be decent people. You know what that means, I'm sure. All right, guys, I'm going to cut it off here. I did an extra hour to make up for the hour that I was gone. It wasn't exactly my intention, but like I said, the 3-hour mark 3 hours of talking does actually get to be about my normal human limit, I guess you could call it. So I hope you have enjoyed it, like always. Thank you for all the subscriptions and the likes and comments. I definitely appreciate it. I'm having a lot of fun with this. It's been great to have you guys as a community with this whole playing this game, and I'm very appreciative. So thank you guys, and I hope you have a good rest of your weekend. And like I said, the Discord channel's there if anybody wants to come over and talk about things. I should be back on it a little bit later after I eat. Sound good? All right, take care, guys. Have a good night. And like I said, I'll leave the stream going for a minute so everybody can say goodbye or whatever else. Take care.